Okay, so we are on. All right, hopefully I can see some of y'all's comments and things like that. Thank y'all for joining today. This is the REI Wholesalers Are Us. Let's talk real estate. We're going to be talking about the state of wholesaling during this COVID-19 crisis. And for those of you that are familiar with REI Wholesalers, you know that this is a meetup that was started by Will and Tim some years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, and it has grown immensely. So, you know, for those of you that are joining, I'm sure you're familiar with these guys. Awesome brothers. I can't speak highly enough of them about what they've actually put together as it relates to a wholesale meetup, specifically wholesaling meetup. Everything that they've done, you know, in this meetup as is pertaining specifically to wholesaling. So if there are any specific experts that I would highly recommend, you know, looking into for guidance and wholesaling, it would be these two gentlemen here. So again, thank you all for joining. I think we can see you on the timeline. Let me just make sure I'm gonna click on over here. See, make sure I can see you all in the timeline. And hopefully you can see me. That's the other thing. I want to make sure you all can see me on the timeline. Okay, I think that was a different one. And I think we are on live. Definitely, we are on live. So let me just make sure I jump in here. And I know this is going to be interactive. I definitely believe it's going to be interactive. So if you have any questions, okay, you can hear me. Okay, good. You can see me. Good stuff. Hopefully you all will be able to post your questions and things like that. You know, tell us about what you got, what some of your, okay, good. All right, here we go. It's going to be interactive. I definitely believe it's going to be interactive. Make sure I mute that. All right, good stuff. We're on. We're cooking with Crisco, as my folks used to say. Okay, so yeah, we're going to be getting started in about 5 minutes. And for those of you that are joining, you know, definitely go ahead and put your post in the comments. Definitely do this. Let's do this. Let's start by doing this. For those of you that are joining, if you're not in our local area of Metro Atlanta or wherever you are, go ahead and put in the comments where you're watching from. Go ahead and put in the comments where you're watching from, your specific city, your specific state. Go ahead and put where you're watching from so we know who you are and how we're interacting with you. Now, many of you are joining us on Zoom, so I want to be able to make sure I can. Okay, we got some people in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Okay, good stuff. Duluth. All right, good stuff. Let me see who else we got. Smyrna, Lovejoy. Shout out to the folks that are in Georgia. Let's see who else we got. Lawrenceville. Somebody said, hey, y'all, Cobb County. Where are folks that are joining from different places? I know we got a lot of folks from Georgia because y'all are familiar with Wholesalers Are Us. Florida, okay, good stuff. Montgomery, Alabama. All right. Shout out Detroit, Michigan. Who was that? Jamal. Okay, shout out to Detroit. Got some folks from the hometown in the house. Good stuff. Listen, guys, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be awesome. You know, and I can't speak highly enough of the gentlemen that are actually going to be hosting this event. I am just a person to come on and kind of share some things with you from the beginning, but these guys are actual hosts of REI Wholesalers Are Us, and I'm sure you're going to get a great amount of information from these guys. Again, they're awesome in what they do. So I want to bring on, without further ado, Mr. Will Galloway and Mr. Tim Harvey, our REI Wholesalers Are Us. And again, go ahead and continue to tell us where you guys are watching from as I bring these gentlemen on. Will and Tim, are you guys with us?
Yes, we are. Hey, how's it going, Glenn? How you doing?
Good stuff, man. Listen, thank you again for allowing me to be a part of this awesome event, man. I know it's going to be phenomenal as always.
Well, hey, man, just before we get started, man, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for actually doing this, man. We certainly appreciate all the years of honest expertise. Real life real estate investing is truly, real life real estate investing.
Definitely.
And listen, we're just grateful for your friendship. We're grateful that that as a community that we can all come together and get around this thing that's gripping the world. We're certainly grateful, and we certainly look forward to hearing your expertise here in a few minutes, man. So thank you very much for your hosting. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you again for the opportunity.
All right, guys. Well, listen, guys. Look, my name is Tim Harvey. My partner's name is Will Galloway, and we make up what's called REI Wholesalers or us. And just to kind of give you guys a little bit of perspective of where we started. We actually started this group back in 2015, our goal. And of course, we didn't know, what was going to happen today or what was going to happen a week ago. But our goal was actually to put together a group of people and build a community of like-minded individuals, and bring everybody together as a community. And we could share, what we do in real estate together. And then, of course, those that are new, we could bring them into the fold and teach them and kind of groom them and kind of bring them to a place of where they can actually do their first deal. Like I said, I met Will. It has to have been about 6 or 7 years ago. And, and just a little bit about my testimony of how we got into this thing. I got into real estate back in 2001. And the way I got into real estate was I was actually, a restaurant. I was a restaurant manager, and was able to just kind of, I hated what I was doing, to be frank. I was working about 80 hours a week, and I was just one of those guys that that was just a grinder. I was in my early 20s, as a grinder. Ended up hating what I was doing. And I had a friend of mine that came to me where he had another good job, Coca-Cola. We both had good jobs per se. And, said he was going to get into the real estate business. Well, we had started an investing club a little bit before that. And we were able to actually get into this business full time. Did my first deal. First deal was a renovation and rehab, and jumped in wholeheartedly. Didn't know anything about the business. Didn't know anybody in the business. Didn't have a community, but found my way eventually from sinking to actually swimming in the business, and was able to do the business successfully for about 7 years until everybody knows what happened in 2008. We had a crash, a real estate crash, and of course that crash was our fault. The real estate business's fault.
Yeah.
But the thing that I missed about that crash was I should have stayed in the business, and didn't know to stay in the business because I didn't have a community around me. So what I did was I took my tail between my legs and I went right back to corporate America. And as you guys know, because you see me here now, spent a couple of years in corporate America. And I was always that guy that was just kind of looking out the window, just trying to figure out, hey, how can I get back out there? Well, I ended up visiting one of my old attorney friends, and, they showed me that it was possible because they were still doing business. I think it was 2010, 2011, they showed me that it was possible to do business. So myself and my friend that were both on our corporate jobs, both of us wanted to leave, and we mindseted our way actually out of that job and into this present real estate opportunity. Started off knocking on doors. Like I said, this business is so expansive. This business is so wide. So the first thing we started doing was, pre-foreclosures were big back then, and we started off knocking on doors and found our way into wholesaling. Well, started wholesaling for a couple of years, and then I ran into my partner, Will, and that's where his side of the story actually starts. But before I start anything, I just want to say, hey guys, I want to thank God for giving us this opportunity. For giving us this opportunity to even do this. We had an opportunity to pray this morning with our apostle, and I was just grateful for that. And God gave us this opportunity to lead this community, to be a part of this community, and we are grateful for that. And I just want to thank you guys, all of you out there. Some of you on Facebook, some of you on Zoom, some of you are on pretty soon you'll be on YouTube. But just want to thank all you guys out there for jumping on with us. Thank you for being a part of our community. Thank you for, thank you for just being there. Some of you have been there since the beginning. Some of you have been there since the beginning. And 2015 when we first got started, and we are grateful for that. And some of you guys are just jumping on for the very first time, and we're just grateful that you guys would jump on. I want to thank my partner Will, always persevering, always doing the business, no matter what. We're there and we're moving forward. Thank Lachette in the background, and of course Delano. Thank you for moving everything. All the missing pieces. We certainly appreciate it. But yeah, just back in 2015, 2013, I believe I met Will, and for 2 years we were doing business together, and eventually we got to a place where we were actually able to just meld, and we found that we both had the same principles. We both were men of God. We both had faith, and we found that we were that we were in sync. So in 2015, we were like, hey, let's put together some community of like-minded individuals, people that that think like we think, do like we do, and we can all walk lockstep and do this business. Well, we decided to meet at a Barnes and Noble, and and that's where the magic begins. But let me back up, man, and brother, how you doing, man? How you doing? I think I overran it, but it's my first time on this thing. So how you doing?
Oh man, you're good, man. We actually do this every Monday, but this is our actual first time doing it on for a Saturday meetup. But I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. First and foremost, let me give my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ all the credit for give him all the glory. So grateful to be here on a Saturday. I'm grateful to have everybody that's watching us via Zoom, via Facebook Live. I'm thankful that everybody's listening to what we got to say. When I tell you that today is going to be probably, even though it's virtual, it's probably going to be one of the best meetups that we probably ever had. And I know we've had a lot of classic meetups. But we have an all-star panel today that we're going to be bringing on, close friends of ours. We call them brothers. We have one of our sisters on the line as well. But we're going to be giving out a lot of content, a lot of information. Everybody, know what's going on with this COVID-19 crisis going on right now. But we're going to be talking about today, like how to approach it moving forward, like what is to be expected. We're going to not only get our perspective, but we're going to also get their perspective as well. And I think as a community, we'll be able to share information. We'll be able to share feedback. And I think this is good, because this is our community. This is our news. Sometimes you get caught up on the press news and the media news, but what about the real estate news? What do we need to be doing next? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I think this is going to be definitely a valuable meetup that you guys are going to be on today. And I'm just grateful again to have everybody on. Since we do have speakers, we're going to be kind of brief with our introduction. I think Tim introduced himself. My short story, started real estate back in 2008. That's when I purchased a investment property back in Alabama. Watched the TV show Flip This House like everybody else. Thought I was a rehabber. Got caught up and, barely was able to sell it. Matter of fact, I got it in 2007. By the time I was getting ready to sell the property in 2008, I sold it right before the crash actually, happened. So I really got lucky. I think I barely made my money back, but I ended up selling it right before everything really got really serious. After that, I got into the nightclub business. I did that for a couple of years. And within that time, that business went under. I still owned the building, but my calling from God was another purpose. It was something much bigger. Around that time, I also met my now is my wife. And we grew closer to God, and I got saved within that time again. And I found out, what my why was. I found out that I had a purpose, and I found out that my purpose and my calling was real estate. So back in 2012 is actually when I started my company, Big House Investors, also known as Uncle Bill Buy Houses. That was back in 2012. But did a couple of wholesale deals. It actually took me almost 9 months to close my first deal. I've told the story several times. And 2 years into me doing business, I say probably maybe 1.5, 2 years. That's when I met Tim. He called me off one of my bandit signs because I was real big in putting out bandit signs. He called one of my bandit signs. Me and him struck conversation, and we just automatically connected. Sometimes God, when you pray for things, God answers your prayers. And at the time, I was praying for my business to flourish, and I was also praying for the right relationships, because anytime you're going into a new venture, anything, you have to pray and ask God what you want him to bring you. And I wanted new friendships, new relationships, new business opportunities, new partners. And at the time, I was doing deals with other people, but when he sent Tim with me, we met, we did some business in the beginning, but we knew, as we were doing business, we knew that it was a bigger purpose, and that's when, we was like, hey, let's start a community. This was back in 2015. It wasn't a lot of content out there. It wasn't free meetups like this. It wasn't, YouTube maybe had a handful of people that was actually posting videos. It wasn't a whole lot going on. So we at the time, we was like, let's build a community, let's build a community to where, we can have like-minded individuals, just like us, and we come together and we partner, because we knew that in this business, relationships are everything, and if we can partner with the right people, then that would allow us to, be able to do more business, and we knew that. So that's why we created Wholesales of Us back in 2015. Our first meeting was at a Piccadilly off Godby Road. When we, the first meeting was packed. And from that point on, everything was history. We've been in this thing 5 years strong with Wholesales of Us, hosting meetups every last Saturday. And 2 years ago, we started a Monday call because we were seeing that a lot of our partners were dragging on Mondays. We seen that a lot of our partners were not having full clarity for the whole week or not being motivated enough. But we understood that within life is 90 to 95% mindset. Everything else is life and everything else that's around it. But the mental state was the most important factor. We thought it was way more important than learning real estate. It doesn't take a lot to learn real estate, but we understood that the mindset was so powerful. So every Monday, we take it upon ourselves at 8 o'clock to preach on mindset, to preach on spirituality, how you put to renew your mind. We quote scriptures. We are Christians first, so of course, that's the center. And since then, we've been able to be a blessing to other investors. We've closed so many deals with other investors. We helped flourish other investors, wholesaling businesses, and the community doesn't stop. We felt like this meeting was important because everybody's, a lot of people are, not everybody, but a lot of people are in panic mode right now, not knowing what to do. But we're still staying positive. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And that's what a lot of our partners are going to jump on the call and talk about today is like, how do we approach this? What's going on out here and what do we need to be doing? So, bro, just to kick it off, man, I think, a lot of people want to know, like, how are we actually approaching this right now? Like, with everything's going on, how are we approaching business right now?
Yeah, well, it's definitely, it's definitely been a shift. And this is something that, that we talked about, we've been talking about for a minute, and we just didn't quite realize that the shift was going to happen. and it was going to be something that's totally out of the real estate community's hands. I think for a while, we were thinking that, with the shift, it was going to be something that that the real estate community did, but I think we've been faced with the reality of this thing is out of everybody's hands, and this is something that that we all have to we all just have to first of all, we have to rely on our faith. And we have to embrace our faith at this time, more so than ever, embrace our communities more so than ever, more so than we ever have. And just do that. And as I began to process the shift, and I know for a lot of people, I was sitting with the wholesaler the other day, and actually looking at a property. And the wholesaler did not know that things had changed, had no idea that that things had changed. So, I just believe that, sometimes it takes a while, for people to process the shift. And what I did is I began to process my shift. Of course, me and you, we both have, in this game, we've got employees. And, we had to adjust, what we were doing from a standpoint of, we had to pivot. And instead of just making, in our business, we do phone calls. My specific business, we make a lot of phone calls, and we do dials. And the thing that we had to do specifically was to change what we were saying. So now that the market is shifting, we know that our sellers are in what's called the change window. And we had to change what we were saying. We had to adjust some of our agreements. We had to adjust our contracts. So the first thing that we did was we called all of our buyers, and we called all of our sellers, and qualified. We qualified all of our buyers. We qualified all of our sellers, just to kind of get an idea of where they were, where their minds are. We're still going through everybody, but that's what we did. We also found that there's no such thing as a bad list. And with the list, we've been re-attacking our list. So we've been requalifying everybody. So that's the main thing that we did. Once we got our minds right, once we got our mindset right in what we were doing, then we began to requalify everybody. So that's what me and my staff are doing, and we actually are plucking out some deals from it. So we also, requalified some of our, private lenders, private partners, requalified them, say, hey, how are you doing? What's going on with, with you and your mind? We qualified some of our attorneys. So that's what we've been doing in our business specifically. And that's the main thing, is just communicating. I remember that, during the last shift in the economy, there wasn't as much communicating, but I thank God for social media. I thank God for Zoom. I thank God that, we're all able to communicate a little bit more effectively. And that's what we've been doing. The main thing is communication, mindset, and communication. So how about you, partner?
Yeah, that's good. I think, for one, I just been kind of staying encouraged, encouraging, my team, just trying to stay positive. It's kind of hard to stay positive when you're looking at so much media, you're looking at so much press, and everybody, to be honest with you, I think everybody's just looking stressed out, and everybody's just looking stressed out, man. And I just try to stay positive and try to encourage them, and know that it's gonna get better. And I think the only way you can really get out of a slump is you have to actually keep working. You have to keep working, and you have to stay motivated to want to keep working, because believe it or not, people are still doing business out here. I've been getting miscommunication. I know we've been getting caught.
I saw you in the closing yesterday.
Exactly. I actually had 2 closings this week, so I mean, things are still happening. People are still closing. Yes, things have changed. Yes, I've been talking to a lot of buyers, and a lot of buyers are kind of holding out right now, and they're waiting for this thing to blow over. But there are other buyers who are being aggressive. I think the only thing that I've seen change is, some of the main buyers, they're probably offering a little bit less, maybe 10, 15, 20% less than what they probably normally would offer, just to kind of have that safe cushion, and just in case things do turn around in the wrong way. But I mean, I think one thing, if you got a good deal, you still gonna make money, you know. So at the end of the day, I just think that we got to continuously keep marketing. We're also doing what you said, like we're going through our database right now, and we're looking at all of our old leads, and we're actually going back and we're requalifying them to see, you know, if they're still interested. You know, we're going through everything, even leads from last year. We're going through them. You know, we're calling everybody to see, you know, do they want to offer? Do they still want to sell? So we've been doing a lot of that. I've also been trying to requalify my buyers, you know what I'm saying? Trying to ask them like, hey, are you still buying right now? What are you looking for? What type of deals are you looking for? So I can kind of keep hearing, you know, like what they're looking for. Maybe some of them may been buying this, but now that things are going the way they are, maybe they're shifting over to buying this. You know, maybe they want more buying holes right now. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some of the fix and flippers are looking for, again, maybe 50, 60% instead of the 70, 75 that they probably were buying at. So it's good to kind of ask those questions so you can kind of get an understanding of, you know, where they are. From a marketing standpoint, I mean, we're still doing everything. Everything still works. You know, we still got bandit signs going out. You know, we've kind of slowed down on the postcards for right now, but we've been doing a lot of cold calling. And we've also been doing SMS texting, and that's pretty much it. You know, our website, you know, it ranks really high on Google. If you click on We Buy Houses Atlanta, our site actually comes up on the first page toward the middle or toward the bottom. So we've been kind of working on our SEO, trying to get some organic leads online. But I mean, everything is still moving forward. You know, we're still working. The great thing about my business is all of my employees are virtual. You know, my whole staff is virtual. So that's the good thing about it. I know they was even asking like, are our jobs in jeopardy? And I was like, you know, at first, you know, I was even considering it, but I was like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep having the mindset that nothing has happened, nothing has changed, and I'm gonna keep, you know, pushing forward like nothing has changed. You know, I don't want to set myself up to be thinking that we're in a troubled time or thinking that we're in something and overthinking it, and then make a decision that may affect my business. You know, so I'm just trying to approach this, you know, with the mindset of, you know, it's going to get better. It's already better, and we're going to continue to keep moving forward, you know, and I'm not going to be in panic mode at all.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, like if you react to every ebb and flow of the news, then you won't get nothing done. You know what I'm saying? Like if you
Right.
react to everything that's you won't get anything done. So yeah, you're right. I mean, it's good to, you know, encourage our employees, encourage our partners. You know, just let them know that everything's going to be fine. I mean, you know, my employees were the same. I mean, are we still going to be working? And you know, of course, we do have those pause moments where we got to be smarter. I'm like, well, hey, you know, we got to ramp up production. You know,
Absolutely.
you know,
I've even changed their job roles. You know, like a lot of, you know, I got like 5 VAs, and they all do something different. And a lot of them, I'm telling them they got to start back picking up the phone again. You know, like they got to start back calling sellers. Like I only had specifically one that was actually doing a lot of the follow-ups, but now I got 3 of them doing follow-ups. You know, so, you know, could we need to go a little bit deeper into the database? You know, like I said, even them leads from last year, early last year, it could be January last year. You know, I just want to go back until they say, hey, we've sold it or it's not for sale anymore or something like that. But those leads still need to be requalified, you know, so I'm needing them to do that as well.
Yeah, you know, the other part is just, you know, yeah, I mean, the other part is like just condensing, you know, like the task, you know, things that need to be done, you know, like where you said it took, you know, or reframing what it is that you're doing, focusing, getting back into your business. Like one thing that we were doing like last month, I think we were somewhat on you know, I'm not gonna lie, we were on somewhat of an autopilot kind of thing. But now, you know, for experienced investors, you know, now's the time to really get back into this. You know, really, you know, things I started doing is I started analyzing every part of my business. I started, you know, I used quarantine time to really get down into my business and just check every part of it to make sure that, that I don't have any fat anywhere per se with the business. So it's not a time to waste. And that's the thing that people have to understand. It's not a time to waste. It's a time to really get down to your core, get back to the basics, and really start focusing. So that's something that we've been doing in our business as well. It looks like that we're kind of mirroring each other in a lot of the things that we are choosing to do. So that's good to know, bro.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm moving around a little bit, trying to get my lighting right. I look dark on this image for some reason. I'm trying to get my lighting right in the house.
We see the bank in the background.
Yeah, I don't want to see the bank. I want me to be seen. I look dark on here. You can see the bank clearly. You can see me.
But yeah, man. But yeah, that's the stuff that we're doing. Can you guys see Will? Can you? We kind of keeping this interactive. Can you guys let us know? Can you see Will on there?
I'm trying to adjust my lighting.
Okay.
Everybody saying no, it's dark. Yeah, I know.
Saying no. A lot of people are saying that you're dark on there, and
that's why I keep moving my screen around, trying to get up under this light so I can get a better view of myself. I'm gonna just keep filling around with it until the light changes. Okay. There's different angles where it gets better.
Okay. Well, the important thing is, somebody said, John said, John Joshua.
That looks better. That's
perfect. That's perfect right there.
Let me try to see if I can sit right here for a while. So I can keep this. I don't know why. Look, I'm like, okay. If I go back.
Go back.
That's what I'm like, golly. Okay, let's keep going. I don't want to waste this whole meetup about getting my light right, but
you had it perfect though. You had it perfect.
But anyway,
yeah.
So yeah, man, let's go ahead, man. Let's just go ahead and start bringing on our guests, man. Anything else we need to touch on first?
Oh man, I just want to say, man, that I'm excited about how this amazing panel began to come together, man. Listen, when it comes to times like these, you really want to hear from people.
We're talking about turn all the way around. I knew a joke was coming from him soon.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's perfect. But yeah, in times like these, man, you really want to hear from those that know, and those that are in the know. And like I said, back in 2008, when things happened in 2008, I didn't have anybody. So I quietly left, with my tail tucked between my legs. And this first guest we're gonna bring on, she actually knows, what she's doing. She's a veteran in this game. She's actually in the lending, she's coming from the lending perspective. And I just want to make sure she's ready. Lachette, can you make sure that Nicole is ready before we get her started? But she's actually comes from the lending perspective. And how many of you guys know that lending is a very, very, very important part of this community? And we wanted to get her perspective. And before Nicole Hines, are you on? Hey.
I'm here.
Perfect.
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Morning, Nicole.
I feel like you can't see me though. I guess I gotta sit up a little bit.
Yeah,
how you guys doing?
Oh, we're blessed.
We're good.
Good.
This is kind of new for us. Now we do this.
Can you hear us?
I can hear everybody.
Oh, perfect. Now we've been doing Zoom for the last couple of years, and but this as far as our meetups is kind of new, and so forgive us for all the little.
No, it's good.
But thank you for jumping on. But Nicole, we really want to bring you on and get your perspective from a lender's perspective. Can you let everybody know, number one, which company that you represent, and what you guys are doing and what you're seeing out there in the community?
Sure. Well, again, thank you all for inviting me here today. I really do appreciate it. It was very inspiring listening to both of you this morning, especially putting God first, because at this time, that's exactly what we need to do. We have to continue to have hope because, yes, Things have changed, but it's not the end of the world. Like it feels like for like, Will, you said not everybody, but a lot of people are losing hope right now. And they're like, what's happening? You know, how are we going to keep this thing going? But I love you, both of your perspective is, you know, do business as usual. Don't slow things down. Still get up in the morning and do what you would have been doing 2 weeks ago, you know. Don't waste time. Like sometimes, you know, we just say, oh, this is a good time just to kind of just do nothing. I think that's wrong.
Right.
I think that's the opposite of what we should be doing. We should get our mindset right, because it does start with your mindset. You know, it's so easy just to bail out right now and just to kind of just, you know, fall into a depression. And I want to say to everybody, please don't fall into depression. Keep doing what you do. Be creative. Do your online marketing. If you're going to send out postcards, send them out. If you're going to redo your marketing campaigns, what are you going to do? I love the fact that you guys said go revisit your old leads, you know, see what people are out there doing. You know, some people who are looking for fix and flips, a lot of people are looking for buying holds now. You know, there's just so many different creative things that we could be doing. And I just encourage everyone to, you know, get up every day and, you know, get dressed. And it's easy to not get dressed. I did spend a couple days doing that, you know, looking crazy. So, you know, lately, you know, you just got to get your mindset right. There has been a lot of changes in the lending world. I don't think anybody behind the scenes who can see me knows that things have not changed. And so the one thing in particular, I had a loan that was clear to close when this first started, and at the attorney's office, and the lender decided to pull back because they couldn't, the county's not on e-filing, so they couldn't record the deed. So that company didn't feel comfortable with moving forward with that because they didn't know when their deed could be recorded. So this is a completely clear to close loan, buy and hold scenario. Person putting down a ton of cash, 25, 30% down, and they stopped closing. Thankfully, we were still able to push through that closing because a private lender came in and closed that for us. When I say private, there's a difference between a hard money lender or private money lender. They're, you know, sometimes they get.
Explain that real quick. Explain the difference.
Well, hard money lender, that's backed by an institution.
Right.
So there is a big, large bank behind that loan that is funding that loan. A private is a private, either group of individuals, one individual that would fund a loan. So in my eyes, when you look at hard money loans or private money loans, they do intertwine, but one is backed by an institution, a large company that makes, and that large company sells their loans on the back end to those places on Wall Street. So they're selling those loans. So that's why those institutions who have been providing financing have either tightened their requirements, or some have, to be honest, have stopped lending at all. That's because they can't sell these loans on the back end. Now the private guys, like the one that funded this fix this buy and hold loan, this is a private individual that has money, and instead of putting his money into the Bank of America, which we love, Wells Fargo we love too, but the return on his money would be much less than it would be if you fund a real estate deal. So he felt this was a safe deal. He did it at he charged $2,000. He did it at 6% for 6 months. And then he's optioned to extend it for this young lady for another 6 months for $1,500 at 6% interest rate, which can be a lot less on the rate, but he's getting that money each month, 6%, as opposed to just putting it into the bank. So he put it into a real estate transaction. That's a private lender. And then also there's hedge funds as well. There's private lenders that are backed by hedge funds that might not have the same requirements that it does when you have to sell the loan on the back end. Some of the major changes that I would say are the LTVs, loan to value, as well as the loan to cost.
Okay, Nicole, can you explain loan to value versus loan to cost? Because I know those are sometimes confusing terms.
I'm going to explain, absolutely. And let me see, can everybody hear me well? Uh-oh. Can everybody hear me? And my dog's barking in the background. I hope you can't hear that.
Hey puppy, how you doing?
I know. Can you hear me good? I hope so.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So the difference, okay, let's talk about loan to value. Loan to value is what they will lend based on a future value. We're used to right now of the loan to value of right now. Yesterday, it was between 70 and 75% loan to value. What I mean by that is if you were to purchase a house for $100,000 and your renovation cost is $50,000, you add those two numbers together, that's going to give you your total project cost of $150,000. Yesterday, if you divide that by 70%, that'll tell you which you would want to hope to sell that house for in the future. And in that case, that's about 214, 215. So now, because the loan to values have gone down, they're looking at, believe it or not, I don't want everybody to get scared, but they're looking at between 60 and 65% loan to value. So if you take those same numbers and if you divide it, you will have to sell that house for a larger, sell that house for more in the future. Wow. I didn't do the numbers on my calculator. So that's when you look at the loan to value. So a bank will say, if this house comes in at $215,000, at 70%, they will give you $150,000 to buy that house, as well as to renovate that house. Now you're going to have less money to deal with. You're going to have less money in the pool. So that's what I mean by loan to value, what the future loan to value is. So let's flip that around. So if the loan to value back then was 70%, then you have a 30% margin is what you have when that's your gross margin when you're going to go sell that property. So we like to have 30% built in to account for all of those other fees, your holding costs, your cost of your money, your realtor fees. Now they want to have a larger cushion. So now that they're only going to lend you at 60 to 65%, they want that cushion for you as the investor actually to be larger. They want that cushion to be 40%. As opposed to in the past, or 35%, as in opposed to in the past, they were comfortable with having a gross margin of 30%. I hope I'm making sense.
You're making sense, Nicole. And this is something that we've been talking about for, like privately, amongst ourselves is now, and the only thing that really changes, what I hear you saying is the only thing that really changes is now we have to get better deals as wholesalers. So as a wholesaler, instead of, it used to, and this is what I come from this anyway, back before 2008, we were used to 60 to 65% loan to value. So now, instead of, us thinking of, the 75%, oh, we got some cushion, maybe a hedge fund to buy it, blah, blah, blah. Now we just have to re-educate our sellers and be like, hey, the market is changing, and our buyers, or our partners now are, they're not lending as much money. They're still lending, but they're not lending as much money because they want to mitigate their risk. Is that what I hear you saying?
That is exactly right. And again, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I am Nicole Hines with Nick of Time Funding, and we are a brokerage house here in Atlanta. Everybody knows me probably previously from Baker Collins. Kenneth Igwe and we started together. He's an amazing friend of mine. He taught me everything I know. January 1st, I branched off to Nick of Time Funding with Kenneth's blessing. So a lot of people associate me with Baker Collins. I'm now on my own at Nick of Time Funding. And yes, you are exactly right. Exactly right what you said, Tim. And I jumped on live yesterday during my Field Day Friday, and I talked about that. I talked about the leverage. Wholesalers, we need you. We need you so bad because we need you to go out there and find those deals that I too started in real estate in 1999. And I had my own construction business as well as a mortgage company back from 99 to 2007. And yes, we were used to 60% and 65%. So this 70% and 75%, that's brand new for me. That's brand new. I've been doing this hard money thing for about 3 years, 3.5 years. And I was like 70%. Oh, that's risky. But it's the norm. So I quickly adapted to what it was. I learned the numbers. I learned how to explain the numbers. But yes, 60 to 65%, 60%, that is tough. But it can be done with you wholesalers out there working with the sellers and negotiating the prices on the front end. So we may not be able to make, you know, 20, 30,000 on a spread. You know, it might be 15 to 10,000 on a spread, but let's still make some spreads.
Right.
You know, let's still make some money. You know, we might not be making as much money as we were as wholesalers and as lenders. The lower my loan amount, the lower my commission. But I'm okay with that. I just want us to continue to do business. So let's all, on my live yesterday, I said, if wholesalers, sellers, and lenders, if we all work together, we will get through this.
Right.
But it has to be a conservative effort, because there are deals out there, and some of those same deals that I closed could have been at 65% LTV.
Right.
You know, when you look at the spreads that were there, I don't count anybody's money, but when you look at the spreads, those deals could have still closed if those numbers fit in that 65%, you know, margin. Let me keep in mind, now I'll go on to loan to cost. Let's also keep in mind that they're being very conservative as well. And when I say lenders are being conservative, they are still lending, but they're looking at those appraisals much closer. They're going to look at those comparables much closer. They're not going to really do a lot of stretching. They're going to look at like apples for apples. You know, if it's a brick house, they're going to look at a brick house. If there's a frame house with a basement, they're going to look at the same thing. They're going to be very conservative on and picky on who they want to lend money to. Another thing that they're looking at, which we didn't really have to worry about in the future. I mean, yesterday we didn't have to worry about, was they're also looking at your reserves. Mm-hmm. So I'll move on to loan to cost in a minute. But before, you know, some of the institutions, some of my capital partners, they didn't even really look at bank statements, believe it or not. I don't tell my clients that, but they weren't really looking at your bank statements real close. Now they want to make sure that you have, not only do you have reserves, 6 months, 12 months reserves.
Seasoning?
6 months, yes, not seasoning, reserves. So payments in the bank. So in the past, when they weren't even looking for, like looking at your bank statements, where did this lump sum of money come from, or where did this come from? They now want to see, they want to make sure that you have a cushion to make these payments if for some reason something doesn't happen and we can't sell quickly. Right. So they're looking at reserves now. I had one capital partner ask me for income sources. I'm like, what do you mean by income sources? Like, you're not asking me for W-2s and pay stubs, are you? They just want to make sure that there's some kind of income source, like a tax return. Wow. 90%, 99% of hard money lenders and or private money lenders, they didn't really look at your tax returns. Yeah. They would look at they would look at it to make sure you're complying with the IRS, to make sure that you don't owe the IRS, so a lien can't attach to you. And when you go to sell it, it would, you know, hinder that process. But now they are looking a little bit about your income. Let's make sure you have some income coming in, just in case, you know, you have to step in and help with this project. So yeah, there's some changes, but with all of us working together, these changes will not stop our business, for sure. Now, loan to cost. Let's move on to loan to cost. Loan to cost is how much are they going to loan you versus how much does this project cost. Most of the time, the loan to cost in my career for the last 3 years was 85 to 90%. You would have to bring 10% down of either a total project cost. In some incidents, you only had to bring 10% down of just your purchase price only. Let me give you an example. A major change was this one capital partner used to have 10% down of your purchase price. Well, they doubled it. Now they want 20% down of your purchase price. You have to have some money. So, but if you have some money in your money market, if you have some money sitting, you know, even if it's in a 401k that's not really making you a whole lot of money, I would invest in real estate, just like that capital partner or that private lender that stepped in at the closing table and used their own money. If it were me, that's where those who, like, I think it was Tim, who we left the market in 2008. And if I would not have left the market in 2008, I probably wouldn't be on this live with you guys right now, because I would be somewhere else. But, you know, don't get scared, you know, because you have to put your money somewhere. So I have another young lady who the one who we funded that fix and flip for, and she immediately jumped on another buy and hold, you know, because she has a ton of money sitting in her retirement fund that she actually retired that she can use. You know, it's just sitting there. It's not making a whole lot of money for you. sitting there, this is going to turn around. And those who withstand this storm and stay in are the ones who are going to end up winning. And I'm hoping we're going to see these people winning within the next, like, I can't give a time frame because TV is crazy. But, you know, I think if you stay in this game, you are going to win for sure. You know, your money is going to make you money for sure, as opposed to it just sitting in your 401k or your money market where it's making very little money each month. You know, so yeah, you might have to put a larger down payment because your loan to cost is now 80% versus it was 70%, you know, or 90%. But don't let that be the reason why you don't want to invest right now, whether it's a buy and hold or a fix and flip. Wow. Another call I keep getting is my sister, you know, my biological sister, and it is dark in here too, but my biological sister as well, she bought a fix and flip, and she called me and asked me, no, that got worse. She asked me if she should stop her project. And I'm like, absolutely not. People, inspectors are still coming out. Their draws are still being done. These companies, these capital partners, these institutions, and especially these private lenders, they don't want you to stop your project. Get your project finished and on the market. Get that real estate agent that you're working with that you love so much. Put a coming soon sign out there. Let's get this thing going. Let's get this thing finished. Inspectors are still inspecting. Draws are still being paid out. You got to finish these projects. Do not stop your project in the middle of your project because you're scared to either spend money, that money's already allocated. It's there for you to finish your project. Please, let's keep those projects going. Let's get them on the market for this summer. I personally think because the record low of interest rates are going to be so low. I'm also a licensed loan officer on a conventional side, and the rates are there. Every day they're going, one day they're way up, one day they're down, one day they're up, one day they're down. But I think if anybody knows about what happened back when when the economy crashed, rates went all the way down and houses flew off the market. This house I'm living in right now, I had a huge mortgage on it back then. I was able to refinance and now have not such a large mortgage back then. So opportunities are going to be there. Money is going to be available for you to buy, especially you guys who are selling to those who want first-time home buyers. There's going to be opportunities for them. There's going to just be a whole bunch of opportunities. And I just don't want anybody to get discouraged. Stay prayed up. Stay busy. Get your marketing together. Get your mindset right. Call me for some funding. And let's get it done.
Well, listen, Nicole. Listen, we've got crazy. A lot of people are asking questions. And what we're going to do is all the questions are going to be to the end. So
okay.
We certainly appreciate, the perspective that you brought here. Listen, I mean, this makes me excited. So
good. But I need you and Will to go find these deals. So that means, and I have very good friends that are wholesalers, you go and included. I know how hard it is to be a wholesaler. So I'm not the one that's ever going to be like, oh, wholesalers don't deserve this, they don't deserve that. You guys deserve each and everything that you get and every penny you earn and you deserve. I need you to get out there and talk to those sellers that still are motivated sellers. They might not be able to have make such a major amount now, but we can all work together and still make money.
That's right.
And still help people while we're doing it.
Well, thank you so much, Nicole.
You're welcome.
If you don't mind, hold to the end.
I will. Sure.
They got questions. So
good.
Thank you, girl. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nicole.
You're welcome, Will.
That was awesome. Listen, bro. That was awesome. That is some fresh perspective. You guys, hey guys, while you're on that, guys, just give a thumbs up to Nicole, saying she did well, because I really enjoyed that as well. Yeah. But the next person that we bring up, and listen, our partners are gonna come back and they're gonna answer all questions at the end, guys. Perfect. The next person that we bring up is certainly no stranger to this thing, no stranger to cash. Listen, this brother has, he's been through it all. He's a battle-worn veteran, and he has actually, he's been through it all. And, he just persevered and he keeps going. And that's one thing I really, really admire about him. I admire the fact that, he has a show, and his show, he interviews everybody on their perspectives. He does a lot of rehabbing, does a lot of renovating. and it's just a man about the community. So if Glenn Glasper, are you on? I think, Glenn, if you're on, it's your time. Let's see. Lachette, if you can check with Glenn just to make sure that he's able to get back on. Let me check. Yeah. Okay. I think he's trying to, there he is. There he is. All right. Hey, brother.
Dollar out of a dime.
Hey, I got kicked out for a minute, but I'm back.
You know, this our friend in the community, guys, and like we said, you know, our community, like these are our friends. So you know, we all just weathering this thing together, brother. Listen, man, we just wanted to get you on, man. Thanks for doing double duty.
Definitely.
But since you are a veteran in this business, we wanted to just go ahead and just kind of get your perspective on how things are from your perch, from a standpoint of wholesaling, how this affects wholesalers. Let us know what you're thinking.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to definitely give it back up to you guys. You know, thank you guys for continuously providing, you know, using your platform to continuously provide great information and great education to people who are in the business. You know, like even me, myself, you know, been around for some time. I always catch things from a different perspective when I listen to you guys, you know, and kind of learn from the things that you guys have got going on. So, you know, always thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of what you got going on. You know, I certainly appreciate the opportunity to be a host and to be a part of the panel, you know, to share some information and insight. So thank you again. You know, I can't thank you guys enough. You know how I feel about you. You know, there's no question about it. You know, so just from a perspective of wholesaling, I'm gonna go back. You said, you know, most times when people say that they've been doing this business, in my opinion, for a certain amount of time, you know, most people say it from a perspective of I don't know, I guess from you know, a boasting perspective, but you know, I do accept the you know, exactly as you put it. I am a veteran. But if you know anything about veterans, you know that they go to war. And some don't make it home. You know, and if it's anything about this, you know, one thing I say that my pastor says, he says that I don't trust nobody that don't walk with a limp, because you ain't been through nothing. You see what I mean? So as a veteran in this business, believe me, brother, I've been limping, I've been crawling, I've been hit by some of everything. So I don't, you know, I say I've been in the business for 22 years, but that's not from a perch position of I'm better than anybody, because I always tell even my students that I'm a student first. Right. I'm always learning, you know, and then, you know, as many people know that, you know, some people say a little child will lead them, and, you know, you can even learn something from a little child. So I learned something from people who have been in this business for 2 years, 2 months, 6 months. I won't listen to a lot of them again, but I learned to not listen to them. So I learned something. But from the perspective of, you know, saying that I've been around for some time, it's only for saying that the experience is there. Wow. The experience of what to do, the experience of what not to do, the experience of having experienced something like we're going through or about to go through now. You know, so I have experience going through the crash, and I was kind of, I kind of say, you know, I was kind of in the position that Will says he was in. I was fortunate, you know, I don't necessarily use the word lucky, but I say I was blessed to have sold my last property. I was actually holding about 18 properties at one time from the time of about 2006 to 2008. And I was holding them not from a educated perspective. I was just buying properties every other week because it was easy. That don't mean I knew what I was doing. Hey, a guy showed up to a meeting and said, if you can fog up this mirror, I'll give you a loan to buy a house. What did I do? I went out and bought houses. But even in the midst of that, you know, I started selling those houses. I was holding them for a while because I wanted to keep them as rentals. At least that was the idea. But I found that I could make a whole lot more money quicker by selling them off. So I started selling them off. And I was fortunate to have sold my last property February of 2008, right before the bottom fell out of anything. So at that point, I was cash rich, but asset poor.
Oh, yeah.
And what that simply means is, anybody, you know anything about money, you know, money don't stick around. If you don't send it back out there to do work for you, it's go retire. So basically, you know, from that perspective, man, I was fortunate to be able to get out of that last property, and I sold it. But the thing that was unfortunate is that I wasn't educated enough to stay in the game, as many of you guys have said. You know, I didn't stay in the game from that 2008 to 2010 window, where opportunities were abound. You know, the opportunities were in abundance. You know, and I had the cash to be able to buy those properties and hold on to them until the market rebounded. But you know, like you know, Will and Tim have said, you know, we didn't have this type of community. You know, there were times where, you know, it was $5,000 to sit down and have lunch with a guy for him to tell you, you know, just a little piece of what you were supposed to do. You know, and I say that from the perspective of wanting, you know, those of you that are able to join us, you know, via this you know, technology, you know, that we've kind of been forced in a way to use, but fortunate in the sense that this is not costing anything. You know, so take the information and the education that you get from this and definitely be taking notes, definitely writing some things down. I was taking notes when Nicole was talking, you know, because she shared some things from a different perspective that we certainly need to be knowing about funding and things like that. Because those things there's been some adjustments in those things, you know, so we definitely need to take heed of the things that are coming upon us. But just from the perspective of now being in a position to know and to be prepared for when we start knowing what these numbers are going to change to, you know, we'll be in a position to be able to take advantage of some of the opportunities that are out there. And that was the lesson that I learned before, just from a perspective of preparedness, you know, certainly be prepared to do that. You know, but from a wholesaling perspective, I would certainly say that opportunities are, like, right now, I mean, just from the things that you guys share, I mean, you know, I speak the same things you guys speak, you know, that the opportunities are not only happening right now, but they're going to be happening in abundance real soon. And it is going to be for those that are fortunate enough to know and be educated and get the understanding of how to take advantage of those opportunities. One thing, just like you guys had mentioned earlier, you know, that was some of what I did. I actually had a team meeting, you know, strategic meeting with you know, some folks that are working with me, you know, a couple days ago, where we're talking about really getting into the position of taking advantage of what's happening. I mean, not only from the perspective of the, you know, I mean, basically from the perspective of wholesaling. And one thing that I believe Tim said that was paramount is that we're just changing the conversation. We're changing the conversation. We're changing the, you know, what we're saying. And I think the more things that we understand about what's happening, it helps us educate the people that we'll be buying from, help us educate the sellers. Because some sellers will be running scared, you know, and you know, some of them will still think that their properties are worth what Zillow said 2 days ago. However, it's those of us that know a little bit better, we need to be mindful of what's happening in the market and educating the sellers. And as Nicole said, you know, making sure we're in a position of helping people. Because, you know, in times like this, you know, in times of fear and panic, there is always opportunity. Not to take advantage of people, but to be able to educate people. And I think for those of us that understand that, those will be the ones of us that will be able to make it out on the other side, you know, with not as many bumps and bruises, you know. But I say for the folks that are getting started, definitely do the best you can to educate yourself. I can't echo that enough. Do the best you can to educate yourself, because 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you will have been the people who said, this is what I went through at this time. But you will be in a much better position to say, this is who I had help me, and this is how I understood, and this was available to me so that I can make it through this. Guys like that have been around for some time, have that are veterans in this thing, as Tim mentioned. We've taken those bumps and bruises, but we didn't have, as Will and Tim mentioned, the community that we have. To be able to lean on brothers like, Will and Tim and, several other people that I'm sure are going to be taking part of this, that have the education and knowledge, that have the experience, to be able to lean on those, even though, I've been around for some time, to still be able to have people to lean on to say, hey, listen, what are your thoughts on this? And how do you think we will make it through this? That I can't tell you how valuable, I can't tell you how valuable that is, because just to have a conversation with, somebody like Will and Tim, and Nicole and the other people that are going to share, to be able to have a conversation now, I would say, don't take advantage and don't abuse those of us that have been around for some time, but still take advantage of the opportunity to be able to get on, these types of platforms and learn what's happening and learn what to do. Now, the days of the $5,000 luncheons are probably, gone. So you have to pay $5,000 to sit down and have lunch. But, just understand, the investment that you make in any education you get will be worthwhile if it helps you make it through these types of situations. If it helps you get to the point of being able to earn an income from this business. I want to say it from a perspective of this being a business. From this business, it will be something that will be invaluable. If you do invest in your education, whether it's $100, $200, $500, whatever it is, that's going to be, make sure you're learning something that could be used long term, right? So, if I had the opportunity then, where things were going sideways, and I don't know if I think some folks are trying to get in contact with me, but if I had the opportunity then to invest in myself, well, let me change that. If I was wise enough, like the $5,000 lunch, and I had the $5,000 to invest at the time to sit down and have lunch, but I didn't see the value in that, unfortunately, and I didn't see the value in it because the way that it was presented to me as if it was just matter of fact, like that was the regular thing to do. Like it's regular for them to spend $5,000 to sit down and have lunch with somebody. But I didn't recognize then how valuable even that luncheon would have been then. And I'm not saying spend $5,000 to have lunch with nobody. I'm not saying that. But at that time, when we didn't have these types of platforms, it would have been well worth it because I would have had enough knowledge and information to understand how to weather through those situations. Now, Nicole said that, she might not have been on this live, but, if she had taken advantage of the opportunities then, that would have been, if I had made it through, of course, we would all have been quarantined at this time anyway, no matter how much we'd have made. But I would say that would have been something to be able to get through that and be significantly much more valuable than I am today. In terms of net worth, I'll say this would have still been an opportunity for me to get on and share information for people to let them know, listen, this is how you do what you need to do to take the steps to make it through to the other side. So I mean, now I want to speak from a perspective of what do I think is going to happen in the market. All right. So even though things are changing, and I got to continue to quote and reiterate the things that Nicole and Tim and Will have said. Even though things are happening in the market, wholesalers, true wholesalers. I mean, there's a line, a fine line. Be careful the side of the line that you walk. But true wholesalers that are learning what's happening in this market and doing what needs to be done are definitely necessary. I mean, you look at it like this, Walmart is a retail establishment, but they buy their products on wholesale from someone. Someone has to make those products. Someone has to manufacture those products. Someone has to, get those products and sell them at bulk prices or wholesale prices, whatever the case may be. Those are the things. Now, Walmart manufactures some of its own products, but there's still products that come to make it to the shelf that they are selling at a retail price that they've gotten from a wholesaler. right? So those of us that are wholesalers still need to be in position to provide the service of the Walmarts of the world as investors, right? Those people that are going to buy these properties, they're going to buy them from somebody anyway, whether it be you, me, or somebody else, even if they're, because, you know, those of us that are investors that buy houses, there was a span of time that I was just buying houses, and fixing them up and doing all that. I didn't have time to go out and look for the houses. I didn't want to be the one to look for the houses, to check the numbers and do all. I didn't want to do all that because I was focused on if this contractor is going to show up tomorrow, right? So there are people that are in those positions that are buying anyway, right? And they're okay with paying 5, 10, 15, whatever the amount that, you know, wholesalers earn or should earn, I'll say, whatever that amount is, somebody's going to be okay with paying that fee to be able to get somebody to bring them a deal and bring them deals regularly, right? They'll be okay with paying that fee, and they're going to pay it to somebody, as long as you're providing the service that they need. And the service that they need is somebody to bring those deals to them. And you know, from my perspective, I'd like to see my deal brought to me on a platter. You know, and all that means is I want to know what it's worth, what it will be worth. You know, of course, I got to check that all out myself. But from something like that, I can then say I'm justified in paying you that $10,000 fee or $15,000 fee or whatever it is, because I see that you've actually worked to earn it. If you're forwarding me an email from Will saying that this is a good deal, and I've already talked to Will about this deal, and it's $10,000 less, and I get it from Will, that's not going to really work out, right? But not speaking from just that perspective, but speaking from a perspective of being in a position to provide a service that is absolutely needed. Wholesalers, in my opinion, are not going anywhere. We didn't have enough knowledge and experience that we had. You know, we didn't have so back in the day when we were doing it, it was called contract assignment, right? Back in the day. Now it's wholesaling. Now, whatever spin you put on it, the service is still necessary. So I just say position yourself to be a service provider that, you know, for people who are going to need the service anyway. And just in this time, this is going to be the time to properly educate yourself to do it the right way. Tim mentioned earlier, listen, before it was our fault. Before, yes, it was our fault. You know, look, I probably played a part in some of how that happened too. But that was, you know, but understanding that real estate and the market crashing as a result of, you know, bad loans and different things like that, that was a part that people played in real estate that caused most of that to happen, right? But now, you know, with COVID-19 and, you know, whatever you want to call it, that's happening nowadays, real estate didn't play a part in this. But there's going to be some people that suffer as a result of this. And there's going to be some people that rebound and do much better as a result of this. Because, you know, the thing about it is you just have to choose which part you're going to play in all of that. You know, those of you that are taking advantage of being wholesalers, you can certainly be the ones that rebound and do a whole lot better, you know, on the other side. Wholesale, get some money, because there's going to be some properties that we're selling for $200,000 that are going to probably be significantly less, that you can take advantage of those. Be in a position, wholesale right, make you some money so you can be able to buy those properties when the opportunity comes.
Oh man, Glenn, this is awesome information. I like what you said specifically about choosing which way you're going to go. And that's the main thing, is being able to choose which way you're going to go. Are you going to participate in a crisis, which we all know is there, or are you going to go ahead and make the money and do the things that you need to do to improve everybody's lives? Man, I certainly appreciate your perspective. Do you mind sticking on to the end when questions are asked? Because people are asking questions as we speak. Is that okay? Do you mind?
As always, brother, you know, for guys like you and Will, I'm always here to serve, you know, so I'll stick around for however long you need me to.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Good info, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
Definitely.
Guys, once again, good stuff. Give Glenn a good big thumbs up. You are getting perspective from, I mean, these are the people that are in the game, man. These are the people that are in this business and continually stay in this business. And really, their ears are to the pavement of what's going on, which brings us to our next guest. Listen, this guy is no stranger to this business. I mean, he's been in this business for a long time. And not only has he been in the business for a long time, but he's also done it at a very, very high level. And, you know, not only has he done it at a high level, but he has what I would say is a prophetic way of seeing things. And, you know, and we're just so grateful to have him. You know, he's our friend. You know, he's the #1 broker in the Southeast, in my opinion. And you know, we do a lot of business with him. But, you know, again, he's our friend and our brother. And we're just so grateful to have him on. Hey, guys, if you guys would just welcome Keto J. Johnson, broker extraordinaire, Buy and Sell Inc. Let's get his perspective on what's going on. Hey, brother, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How you guys doing?
Man, we're so
What's
grateful.
going on?
Hey, Tim, I got a bone to pick with you because when you were introducing me, like you always do such phenomenal introductions, but this time for some reason, when you said I've been in the business for a long time, you held the word long for a long time. And, you know, I don't know if you tried to date me there or what. Why couldn't you just say I have experience?
And, you know, like it's times like these when experience really matters. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, just times like these when experience really matters, because experience gives you an opportunity to have some kind of foresight into what's going on and what's going to happen. And that's, you know, that's why I said that, man. But I did emphasize that a long time. But yeah, man, let's get into it, man. Listen, I mean, you know, the way we described you is, I mean, you're a real estate broker, and you have a brokerage, but you do so much more in this business. And we really just wanted to kind of get your, and you know, we've had our private conversations, but we really wanted to get your perspective on what's going to happen, what's going on now, what's going to happen, and what are some things that we as, you know, wholesalers and, you know, everything else that we're doing, brokers, agents, what are some things that we should be looking at right now? Okay.
Well, absolutely. First of all, thank you both for this opportunity, for this platform. It's always my extreme pleasure to spend time with you guys and to be able to talk to your group. Wholesalers R Us is a wonderful place that you've created for so many people to be educated. And I think it's hard to believe that it's been 5 years since I walked into that room in Piccadilly and met y'all for the first time. But it's been an amazing ride. And so I answered one question that I heard you ask, Tim, was like what is going to happen? And right, of course, we don't have a crystal ball, but I'm absolutely assured, I'm positive that we are in the gym right now, and that we're going through is just an opportunity to work out. Yeah. Because just like from 2007, 2008, 2009, we came out bigger, better, and stronger. So are we through this situation. We're going to come out bigger, better, and stronger. And, you know, as we'd say in the church, every round goes higher and higher. And so, if nothing else, and I appreciate this about your platform, is that you all, you serve up a great dose of encouragement. And that is one of the things we absolutely need during this time. You know, so many people are, I think Will mentioned it earlier, they're walking around with their head down, but our heads are high, and we know that this is just another great opportunity. One of the things that I am seeing is, and we're talking about the dip in the market, the stabilization that COVID-19 has brought, but the reality is the market had started stabilizing a year and a half ago. Like we know that things were not selling, homes were not selling as quickly as they were, and that prices were going down in some cases. And that's exactly what we've been experiencing. So this is, sure, it's a dip, but the reality is, and just like you all were talking about earlier with Nicole, I think we're getting back to the place where we are being forced to do what we always should have done, and that is be true to a 65%. like we've always taught that, right? You don't want to be all in more than 65%. And
Right.
so just like you guys, I was telling you the other day, there was a deal that I closed a deal this week. I got another deal that I'm buying, a buy and hold, that we're closing on Monday. And the reason we're confident that the deal is still a good deal is because we use those numbers. We use those formulas. And I think that in a lot of ways, the real wholesalers, right, are getting ready to stand up, right? And they have no better coach than the two of you guys to lead us through this time.
So the real wholesalers are going to stand up, and so that means a lot of them are going to go away.
Yeah, I mean, it just anytime there's confusion or challenges that present themselves, those who aren't tough and can't fight through it are gonna look at other opportunities, and that's just the truth. That's just where we are now, and yeah. But the real wholesalers are gonna stand up. And one of the things, and I want to say that I'm very passionate about, and you guys know it. When I came through the crash of 7, 8, 9, when I came through that season, you know my story. I had 17 properties. I lost 15 of those properties, and I left standing with 2. And going through that, people ask me now, how does this resemble then? Well, for me personally, the difference between now and then is, then I was very much over leveraged. And which is why our platforms, and we share platforms, which is why we have spent put a great emphasis over the last few years on teaching people how not to be over leveraged. Glenn mentioned it also. He said, if you had breath, if you had a pulse, you could get a loan. And in 2005, 2006, I went, I don't know how many properties I had with 80-20 mortgages, all in 100%. But there was one time literally where I went to buy a new car, and they denied my loan for the car. And that same week, I bought two $220,000 houses with 80-20 financing and walked away with cash. The same week, right? Wow. So very much over leveraged then, but the difference now is we're not over leveraged. And another thing I'll say, I hope this is the right time to say it, but I think that wholesalers, I think that during this time, wholesalers that did not listen to us 2-3 years ago when we said, save some of those deals for yourself, because as a wholesaler, we know money comes and money goes. Somebody mentioned it earlier already today. Like, money comes and money goes. So when the money comes, you've got to set aside something for yourself. We've been saying for years, stack up some cash because another dip is coming. We've been saying that. We've been saying for the last several years, keep some of these wholesale deals for yourself and get you some rental property. Because when you get that rental property, the reality is, especially if you follow our model, the investing in the hood model, my Section 8 tenants, come the first of the month, like Donald Trump or not, he's direct depositing my rent into my bank account, right? And there's absolutely no concern for that. So for those of you who listened before, congratulations. For those who didn't, praise God, you got another opportunity, because house prices, these hood prices, like the values are stabilizing, and you're gonna see some great deals. If you don't get anything else, take it from somebody who's been through it, lost it all, gained it back, and then some. You need to have some rental property in your portfolio, and you need to provide what we call affordable housing. At least some portion of your portfolio needs to include providing affordable housing with subsidized rent.
Real quick, and that's good. And that's good. I preach that all the time. I mean, we talk about that all the time, me and you offline. But let us know. I know you said you bought a deal this week and you're going to buy another one. Since we're on cash flow, what do the ideal buy and hold property looks like from your perspective, from a number standpoint? Is that question clear? Did I make that question clear?
I believe so. I mean, I'm still holding true. I think 65% still works. We can take the advice.
What would you want to be all in? I guess all in. Like, what would be ideal for you for far as a rental property?
I think 65% is still a good all-in number. Or we can take the advice of Nicole if we're leveraging lenders like what she can provide, loans that she can provide. 60%, 60 to 65%. An all-in number. And for me personally, I think there's still a huge need for subsidized housing. So if you're looking at inner city opportunities, most of what I do is with the city of Atlanta. Look, this morning before this call, I was at one of my properties with my big mask on, picking up an RTA. Where is it? I just uploaded my RTA to the city of Atlanta to rent this property, right? So there's still a huge opportunity. And I'll say this because, and I've mentioned this many times in the past, most investors are looking, especially flip investors, are looking for the 3-2 deals. Got to be 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. And you all have heard me say this before. A lot of times if a wholesaler comes across a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, the first thing they ask themselves is, how can I add a 3rd bedroom and add a 2nd bath? And I've seen many wholesalers walk away from deals where adding that square footage did not make sense. But I'm saying those properties absolutely do make sense, because that's where one of the greatest needs is for subsidized housing. For single mothers with one child, for older individuals, senior citizens, for veterans, individuals that only need or only have a 1-bedroom voucher. Right, so all the deals that wholesalers for years have walked away from was and still is a phenomenal opportunity for rental property and subsidized housing.
Yeah, you made me a believer of that, because I never knew you can get $1,000 for a 2-bedroom house. So you made me a believer of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's crazy how those numbers work. I just got a rent estimate back on a deal that we were looking at pursuing, and for a 2-bedroom voucher, they were Section 8 said that they would pay in that particular area as much as $1,300.
Wow.
2 bedrooms.
Oh, 2 bedrooms?
For 2 bedrooms.
That's amazing.
So Keto, when you say 65% all in, you're talking about basically you want all your repairs to be 65%, correct?
Yes, I want to be able to purchase that property and renovate it, and be all in at 65. So whatever the after repair value is,
I was going to say, explain it a little bit.
65% of that number, and subtract the purchase price and your renovations.
So if the after repair value is, say, $120,000, right? So you're saying that 65% of that $120,000 is what you need to be in with your renovations also, correct?
Acquisition and renovation.
Acquisition and renovation. See, you don't have to be smart to do this business. And I'll tell you, Tim, I can't figure out 65% of 120,000 in my head. But let's say it's 100,000, right? Let's say if the after repair value is 100,000, 65% of that is $65,000, right? So you want to be able to buy that property and renovate it and be all in for $65,000 or less.
So from a perspective of a wholesaler, the wholesalers, that's how they need to be thinking. Like if they're going to add the profit in and all that stuff, if they're going to sell it to Keto or pretty much anybody else now, because of the way we're looking at lending, that's what we need to think, correct?
Absolutely. So when you as a wholesaler are figuring that number up, making your MAO, your maximum allowable offer to that seller, you need to 65%, 100,000, 65,000. How much is it going to cost to repair it? It's going to cost $15,000 to repair it. Now you're at 50. How much do you want as a wholesaler? If you want to make $5,000 on the deal, then you need to get that property under contract for $45,000.
That's it. That's the bottom line. And this is like I'm just gonna say this. Back in 2008, we didn't know this information. Like we did, like if you were a newbie trying to come in, you just did not know where you fit into the equation.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is, this is where everybody fits into the equation. This is where everybody can actually make money and fit into this thing. There are plenty of lenders. We talked to Nicole. There are plenty of lenders that are out there that are still lending money. There are plenty of buyers that are still buying properties, and this is where you can fit in. So for those of you that may have been thinking that, man, this thing is dead. No, it's very much alive. It's just we all have to adjust, and and we all have to move things in a different. We have to pivot.
We got 2 minutes before we got to switch, but I want to ask you a question because we've been talking about wholesaling a lot, but there are agents that may be on the line as well.
Yeah.
You are a broker. Can you give some advice to some of the agents or even other brokers that are watching? Like, do you have any type of advice for them for what's going on right now?
Yeah, well, the number one thing I'll say is, which is really advice to everybody during this time, if you're quarantined, if you're home, like the thing that you're doing right now is the thing that you should continue to do, and that is invest in yourself. There's so much information and learning and education that you can consume right now. I believe, and I never stop saying this, I've been saying this for years, and we got a number of short sale deals that we're working on right now, but between the three of us, right? But I believe that short sales never died, and they are absolutely being revived. Those that started dying are being revived, and we're going to see that. That's just a reality of what we're going to begin to see over the next several months. So agents begin to understand short sales and the short sale model, and create something so that you can serve your clients and your investor clients as well as your retail clients. From that perspective, I think short sales is something that you should look at and really consider.
Hey, man, we definitely appreciate you, man, for blessing our crowd. You got to be able to hang on to the end because we're going to bring all the participants back on for questions. I know a lot of questions are coming in. Are you going to be able to hang on to the end?
Yes, absolutely. I'll be here.
Man, we appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. And I know a lot of people asking everybody how to get in touch with them. When we bring everybody on, we want everybody to kind of, talk about how they can get in touch with them from a social media or contact information or whatever like that. So we'll just say that toward the end so everybody can do it at the same time.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Appreciate you, man. Hey, like that backdrop, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you. Hey, we all set up movie studios in our house now since we streaming everything. Right. So exactly. I went to the office. Exactly. I said, let me get that step and repeat and hang it up.
All right. Hey, that was a good move, man. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man. All right. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. This thing is getting good. We're getting some good content, man. We're getting some good content. Tell me what you're thinking. What you're thinking, man. What you're thinking.
I'm so excited, man. Like I got a Kool-Aid smile because
right.
This just, like we knew what we knew, but then just, being able to just talk to our brothers in a public and sisters on a public platform, and just being able to share with our community, what's really going on, the real news is just an exciting.
Absolutely.
So,
hey, let us see some thumbs up on Facebook if you guys liking this so far. Even on Zoom, you guys liking it, say loving it. Thumbs up on Facebook. We just want to make sure we give you guys some value. So let's go and get the next person on. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
This next brother of ours, man. I mean, this is our brother, man. Again, like everybody that we're bringing on. I mean, this is family. And, this is our brother, man. He's the first person, I'm just going to be honest with you. He's the first person I saw doing a meetup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just, like whenever we have a conversation with him, it is just a blessing because we always learn. And I can't say enough things about this guy. He does fix and flips. He buys and sells. He buys and holds. He actually huge wholesaling business. He's got a meetup. You know, what more can you say about him other than he's our brother, and we're grateful to have him on. He's also gives us stock tips. So he's our brother. We'll bring him on. Frank Iglesias, come on, brother. We can see your we can see your avatar, but if you can, okay, now I think we can hear you. And if you could just kind of turn it on, Frank.
Yeah, turn his camera on.
Yeah, turn your camera. It said if you can give him the ability to turn his camera on, then we go ahead and get started.
She said he has to turn it on. Frank, you got to turn your camera on. You see where you turn your camera on it?
Yeah, he just hosted the Zoom a couple of days ago.
What does it say? Start video or something?
Yeah, it should say start video on down at the bottom. But Frank just hosted a Zoom a few days ago that we had a chance to participate in with Atlanta RIA. But while he's getting everything adjusted, like I said, guys, when we have an opportunity, anytime we have an opportunity to talk to Frank, you know, it's a blessing and you know, it's an honor. He is a walking encyclopedia for everything real estate. And you know, it's just, you know, anytime we can get him on, he said no start video button is what he's saying. We can hear you. I think we can hear you, and I think you almost pressed it, and it came. So if you can hit that same thing that you just hit, and that start video button should be down at the bottom to your right, I believe. Okay. So can you guys, Frank, can you talk? Maybe we can hear you. Because I don't see a okay, he says, okay, Ramon says he don't have a start button either. What? Okay. So Glenn or Keto, can you guys let us know what you guys saw to get started? Okay, gotcha. So I think let me see one thing. Maybe we can. Lachette, can you change Frank over? Maybe you can change him over to panelist, and maybe that will help. I got this tablet on. I have a tablet. I'm using my tablet, guys. So if y'all can help me out with that, Lachette, if you can.
Saying that we had been promoted to panelists, and then we were told
Right.
to accept the request. He is a panelist. He needs to turn his video on, is what Lachette saying.
Okay, so he is a panelist?
She said he is a panelist. He needs to turn his video on. She said yes, he is a panelist.
Do us a favor, turn it off and then turn it back on. Turn it off and turn it back on. He says he's not a panelist at the moment, shows him as an attendee. So turn it off and turn it back on.
And Daniel said maybe he should start by restarting the app again.
Well, just
but he's off now, so maybe he when she bring him back on.
Yeah, just bring him back on.
But when he was on the screen though, that I think that allowed him to be a panelist at that point.
There he is. There he is. So I just heard the doorbell ring. So now do you see it now, Frank? Okay, there he is.
There you go. With the cool headphones on.
Now just turn off. There you go. There you go.
There we go. Now we're good. I was like, I can't find a button. So it's all good. How are you guys doing?
Hey man, we're doing good, man. Look, man, thanks for that stock tip, man. I took advantage of it, so thank you.
Good deal, good deal, good deal. I am not an expert in that, just so you know. But there are a few things.
Yeah, man. Listen, we just, you know, of course, man, you know, we got a chance to see your meetup a couple of days ago, which was good with Mr. Tycoon and Dustin. and with the Lanteria, which which is always a blessing. Those that's our family. That we wanted to get and I know that you have unlimited wisdom, Frank Iglesias.
Have a lot of practice, I guess.
But we wanted to get about 15 to 20 minutes of your time, as you can kind of share with us about what's going on with the market, what's going to happen with the market from a wholesaler's perspective, because I know you wear a lot of hats. But if you can do that for us, that would be great.
Well, sure, we can do that. So there's a couple of just TLC items to handle to start. First of all, Glenn was talking about $5,000 for a lunch. I only charge $400, so it's way cheaper. So if you want to save money, I can help you with that. So, and then I think the next thing we got to say before we dive into this is I think it's very important, and I told my wife this. I said I think it's time to quarantine the media. I think if we could take the media and quarantine them and just turn them off for a few weeks, I think you'll see that our country as a whole will be able to weather this in a much more wise, less dramatic fashion. There is certainly way too much drama in the streets right now, way too much, and it is over the top. So I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Hey guys, let Frank know that you guys can hear him.
I can hear him.
Okay, I saw your mouth moving, but your voice disappeared, so I wasn't sure. Okay. Wonderful. So what's going on? I actually did a call on this very subject 3 days ago. So one of the value adds is I'll send you the link because I actually put it on our buyer site. I actually put my presentation out there, so I'll put that up in the I guess in the chat or wherever, and you guys can absolutely rock and roll with that. I think it'll be a great value add to everybody. In fact, I'll just type it in there right now while we're talking, and you should see that. And that's access to the presentation I did. And so what is going on? Obviously, the world's been turned upside down. I was just reading an article not too long ago this morning that said, have we gotten so out of hand that the fix is going to be worse than the virus? And I think that's kind of what we're looking at. To me, it's business as usual. I think it was Tito or somebody a little while ago that said, we're buying now at numbers that we should have already been buying at anyway. And so if you were doing that before, then okay, so the lending world condenses their expectations, but I kind of look at it as, so what? When you asked me to do the call, you asked me, what do I think? And I think I said something to the effect of, I don't care. It's just another day. I think the mess that we are creating will be far worse than what today is, because we've taken a country and we've put them out of work. I think it was a couple of days ago, they said over 3 million unemployment claims, whereas the week before it was like 250,000. So if you do the math, that's a really big jump to go from approximately 200, I think it was 60,000 to 3 point whatever million. And that was in 1 week. It'll be very interesting to see what happens next week. On top of that, next week is the first week where April rents are due. And there's a lot of landlords that are kind of nervous right now because you have these pausing of evictions. And the problem with pausing evictions is it only is going to work if you pause the entire chain. Otherwise, you're just a classic politician kicking the can down the road. Because if you pause the eviction, now the landlord doesn't get money. Well, not every landlord is super well prepared. So if they can't pay their mortgage, Well, now the mortgage people are get upset. Well, the mortgage people got to pay their servicer. Well, if the servicer doesn't get paid, now they're get upset. And at the end of the day, all this money goes back to some investor back in the world that's behind all of it, whether it's an individual or packaged as part of a mortgage-backed security, whatever the case may be. So unless you get the entire chain on board, you're creating a problem somewhere down the chain. And so if you pause rents for 3 months, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
That's going to be a real big problem. There was an article I saw that discussed something nobody talks about, and that's the loan servicers, they only have so many reserves. And they said if 1/4 of the population asked for, I believe it was a 3-month forbearance on their mortgage, they would not be able to service the notes. There's not enough, they don't have enough backup to do it. Now, we're not talking millions and millions, we're not even talking billions, we're talking really big numbers. And that's the problem, is everything is being attacked piecemeal, 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 piecemeal. I've kind of had this thought for a while. If you're going to shut anything down, just shut everyone down for 2 weeks, make it 3 just to be safe, and then open it all back up. Now, is that the best solution? I don't know, and who cares? Because I'm just Frank, I'm just a guy. But the point is, the piecemeal thing, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, because we've got a lot of people out of work. You have the service industry in general that's taking a beating. We went to order pizza the other day and we sat in the parking lot because it's only carry out for like 15, 20 minutes. And everybody was really nice, but it was kind of weird. And then I go over to Lowe's the other day to just buy something for plumbing, and they actually have these blast shields at the cash register at Lowe's. I'm like, are you all gonna start a war here? I mean, what do y'all got? So it was like a blast shield. You run your card through the reader, and the funny thing is, it's like, so there's no touching, but then they pull the receipt and they hand it to you. And I was like, so you got a blast shield, but you just touched my receipt. So what was the point? So I think you're seeing some challenges that are crazy. Now, the reason I talk about that is simply because in real estate, you see people already acting the same way. I actually went and looked at a property this morning. The seller was not there. A realtor showed me the property. And so we walked in, and they had the little bottle of hand sanitizer. That was cool. And I kind of giggled because not all the doors were open. We got to open the door. So is it dangerous to open a door now? And so, and then we want to go in the backyard. Well, guess what? The sliding doors were locked. So now I have to touch it twice. I got to unlock the door, and I got to slide it. And then I got to walk out, and I got to walk back in, and then I got to slide it shut, and then I got to lock it. And so,
like you need gloves.
Well, I guess, but what if it's in the air? So it's
right.
And so that's my point, is we have a situation now where, is it right, is it wrong? I don't know. But what I do know is we're creating a tidal wave of a problem to come down the road. There's a reason why Trump is out there saying, let's get this country back open by Easter. Because I think he sees it coming. That if we don't put 3 whatever million people back to work, and let's say that number this week is another million, another 2 million. What if a month from now we have 6 million people out of work? We're gonna have a really big problem on our hand, and the virus is gonna become this tiny really fast. Okay, and I don't say that in disrespect to the people that have gotten sick. Obviously, it is serious. It's a thing. People have passed away. It's obviously serious. Nobody's disagreeing with that. Nobody's discounting that. But is the balance going to work? Is it going to work? And I think that's where the fear is. This is unknown territory. The stock market is down approximately, I think it's down about 27% down from its peak. Well, in 2008, it was down more. So we've got plenty of room to get worse from a stock market perspective. And we all know that historically, it's probably going to come back anyway. So I don't think there's so much as concern there. We really just got to get back to just some basics, just some good basic sense, which again goes back to what was shared earlier on the call. What are the things we should have been doing all along? Regardless of our opinion, regardless of all the armchair quarterbacks, all the opinions out there, what are the things we should be doing in spite of all the noise, regardless? And so in the presentation, that's what I talk about is, all right, here's what happened. Okay, the lenders are all blah. Well, if I'm a wholesaler, do I care? Not really. And I borrow money, but you know, we're mostly private capital. We use a little bit of hard money. But if I wanted hard money today, okay, well, you know, rates are up a little bit, more money down, but whatever, because that's what you should have been doing anyway. So what difference does it make? And so I think there's just a few skills that we got to think about. And before I mention them, I wrote down 3 things that I think we got to make sure we don't forget. One is perspective. Just because it's dramatic, maybe where you are, doesn't mean it's the same everywhere in the country. I'm up in Cherokee County. It's pretty peaceful up here. It's pretty peaceful. But I was talking with a lady in New York earlier this week. She's like, it's a combination of peaceful and kind of chaotic because there's a lot going on in New York. Okay? If we go to Atlanta, there's a lot of concern. Why? Because people are on the media saying, I'm worried about Atlanta, I'm worried about Atlanta, I'm worried about Atlanta. And I'm seeing that more and more. I'm worried about Atlanta. It's like we're going to worry ourselves into freaking out.
Right.
So there's a perspective you got to think about. Where's the information you're taking and coming from? And where's that location? Even in the midst of this, there are some areas here where stuff's flying off the shelf. Stuff's still flying off the shelf. There's houses still selling right away. And then there's also, where are you in the life cycle of a deal? Because some people are like, you know, there was the example earlier about, you know, if I'm rehabbing, should I stop? And it's like, well, where are you in the life of a deal? Because if you're early in a deal, by the time you're done with the deal, hopefully this is all past.
Right.
So it just, I mean, what if you're in the middle of a 2-year deal that you just got into 3 months ago? I mean, the world's gonna look real different in 3 months, much less another 12. So some perspective is really, really important right now. And you just keep doing the basics. Michael Jordan always said, I used to have the t-shirt, the fundamentals never change. He had t-shirts, he had posters, the fundamentals never change. That's it. So what are the fundamentals? Because if you do the fundamentals, then it's going to be much easier to take all the noise and all the blah, 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 and just turn it off. Just turn it off. And again, that's not to be insensitive, but you got to be focused. You got to be focused. For us, this is, you know, sitting at home hanging out has been a great time to refocus and just clearing the slate, and really saying, okay, what do you really need? I think every expert that has done a ton of business that I've worked with or known has all said this one thing. First of all, get lean. Get real lean. If you don't absolutely need it, get rid of it. Even this morning, I was clearing my desk. Nope, don't need that, don't need that. I mean, if it's kind of important, you don't need it. If it's fairly important, you don't. If it's really important and there's a difference between you want it and you need it. If you need it, you need it. So what are the things you need, in my opinion? In my opinion, there's only 6 things you need, and they're all in the presentation. First one, get a coach, okay? And I say that because I've done this business a few years now without a coach, not so much on the real estate side, but on the business side. It's cost me a lot of money. Paying the coach would have been cheaper 10,000 times over. I can't say it enough. Get a coach. If you're out there without a coach, chances are your decision will cost you more than the coach will. In fact, I will even go as far as say there's a very good chance your decisions will cost you more than the coach will. Get a coach. Step 2, you got to be marketing. You got to market. If you're not marketing, I have no idea what you're doing, but it is not good. Okay. Okay. You've got to be marketing. No matter, you don't have to know 100 techniques. You only need 1 or 2 that you're really good at.
Right.
And if you're good at those 1 or 2, you're good. Step 3, get solid data. You've got to have a solid realtor relationship. If you don't have a solid realtor relationship to get data from the MLS, you have an alternative. Now, I put this in the chat. We use a tool. If you go to CompleteComps.com, you get MLS data and you get off-market data that you can bring together very quickly and easily. It's actually faster to use than the MLS. I know, because I have both. And I actually use this more than I use the MLS, quite a bit more actually. And that gives you solid data. This is not the time to be doing deals without solid data. You heard what the lender said earlier. You know, they're condensing their values down. Loan to cost is going, you know, it's getting more conservative. And that was not the time to be, if you're going to be a wholesaler, be putting out bad data. Okay, we already know the stereotype of wholesalers. The deals are too expensive. The comps don't make sense. There's no excuse for that anymore. Okay, so I'm providing that tool today. CompleteComps.com. You get a 7-day trial. Again, now's not the time to be cheap with that. You need good data. There's no reason any more wholesalers should be putting out deals with bad data. I will say it is inexcusable. If you're too cheap to get good data, don't be a wholesaler. Get out. Please, please, I'm begging you, get out. Because you're doing a disservice to a lot of people. Because you're right, there are a lot of people still doing business. A lot of people. Okay? Get good data though. It's so critical. Okay? You wouldn't do math if you didn't know 2 + 2 = 4. If I came in and convinced you 2 + 2 = 5, that's what the wholesalers are doing. They have bad data. You're selling 2 + 2 = 5. But it doesn't. 2 + 2 = 4. And those are the facts. That's the difference. Good data versus wishful data. Okay. Step 4, you just got to make offers. Okay. Far too many investors just don't make enough offers. That is the reason they don't get deals. It's not this. Anytime I hear people say, there's just not enough inventory. First question, how many offers you make last week? Oh, I made 2 or 3. You didn't do anything. Why'd you wake up? Why'd you wake up?
Wow.
I preach from the rooftop 5 per day, period. If you're doing 5 per day, you're going to do deals. It is mathematically impossible to not do deals if you're putting out 5 offers a day, period.
Wow.
Every single person I've started that to that actually did it has not only done deals, they've done a ton of deals.
Yeah. Wow.
Every single one of them. It works because it's math. It's not opinion. It's not what Frank said or Frank. It's just math. It's good data. It works. Okay. Step 5, number 1 money-making skill. You got to be able to negotiate. You've got to learn how to negotiate. Don't go just watch a YouTube video on it. Go buy a book, read it. If you're not a reader, now's a good time to learn. You have time. And read the book. There are several great books. I'll just throw a couple out there. One is called The Secrets of Power Negotiation, and another one is Never Split the Difference. There are others. The point is it's not like if you read one, you're going to be so much better than the other. The goal is just, most people just don't read it, period. They don't even know. Okay. I was talking to a realtor today that showed me the house. I said, hey, let me ask you something. She says, we're looking at doing creative financing for a deal. And so she's been very curious because she's never worked with someone that does creative financing. And I said, let me ask you something. When you were in realtor school, do you learn how to negotiate? And she said, no. I said, there's no CE courses on negotiation. She said, oh, there might be one. And that's my point is, and I'm not picking on realtors, by the way, they fulfill a very important role. But so few, these are licensed professionals, and it's not at the top of the priority list, learn how to negotiate. When you go to wholesale, if you go get a wholesale course online or you go watch YouTube, pay for it, doesn't matter. I feel like negotiation should be like one of the, if not the most important subject in there. So if you don't know how to negotiate, it's going to be hard to get a deal. It's going to be hard to get a deal. And good negotiators, they create deals where they don't exist to the naked eye. And what I mean by that is most people are looking for a deal. I don't look for deals, I look for opportunities, and then you create the deal. That's what the skill of negotiation gets you, is where most people don't see a deal and then they run around saying there's no inventory or it's hard to find something. A negotiator will see, well, this has potential, and they'll dig deeper and they'll create a deal where one did not exist.
Yes, sir.
And when you have that perspective, you then look at the world and know there's deals everywhere. There's 6 million people in Atlanta. How can you not find a deal?
That's right.
That's an insane thought. And then the last piece, step 6, is you have to have multiple exit strategies for every deal. Now, this one speaks close to me. I'm also a builder. And unfortunately, and I say the word unfortunately because that's the right word, unfortunately, some of these I cannot get rid of unless I sell them. And I've been reminded that's not a good place to be. So moving forward, if I look to build something, I'm still going to make sure I have a secondary strategy. Always have multiple exit strategies, whether you're selling to a cash buyer, a flipper, or you know, a builder, whoever, a landlord, whoever, and have at least 2 ways out of that deal. And a good thing to do is learn how to buy on terms. Now is a great time to learn how to buy on terms, because as you've noticed, the retail market hasn't really taken a hit. Who's been beat up? It's the investment lending that's been beat up. The retail lending hasn't really taken much of a hit. They've gotten rid of some of the non-QM loans, but you know what the non-QM loans are? Those are the loans that are a little bit riskier on the retail side, stuff like no money down and some stated income, whatever. On a retail side, yes, there actually was stated income on the retail side, if you can believe that. But what is a QM loan, a qualified mortgage? Well, it's an FHA loan, a VA loan, a conventional loan. Just the good old, they haven't changed. Back in 2008, 9, 10, people were like, oh, you couldn't get a loan. That's hogwash. I bought 5 rentals with conventional mortgages. Okay, the banks were lending. They were just using good old-fashioned basic loans, qualified mortgages, nothing fancy, nothing slick. The fundamentals. That's all it is. It's a fundamental loan. It's basic. And so I think it's really important that we mind what we take in. If you take these 6 steps and you roll through it, in my presentation, I call them step 0 through 5. If you do those 6 things, then it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It's like there's a virus panicking, whatever. Okay. Right. And you know, and here's the beautiful thing about those steps. You can do them in person, or now we're having to be at home a lot more. So guess what? You can do it all virtually. And that's the beauty of technology. Nowadays with technology, I can get coached, step 1. Step 2, I can do my marketing virtually. Step 3, I've got all the data online. Step 4, I can make offers virtually. Step 5, I can negotiate on the phone. Step 6, I can put together exit strategies. And it's never been easier. So there's just no excuse.
Man, we definitely appreciate it, man. You've given a wealth of knowledge. We already knew how you were gonna bring it. We knew you were gonna bring it here. And man, that was really good. We hope you can stay on to the end, man. We want to bring all the guests back for questions, man. But I love those 6 steps. That's, man, I love it. I love it. So we're gonna point everybody to your you had I guess an audio or video explaining everything. We're gonna provide that link in the show notes so everybody can get access to it, man. So if you can stay on to the end, man, we definitely want to bring you back for questions, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, Mr. Iglesias.
Excellent.
All right. Frank brought it. And this is a great thing, man. The next person that we're going to bring up, again, one of our friends. You know, we love this community, but this guy has done so much in the business. You know, he's a rehabber, fix and flipper. He's a wholesaler. You know, he's a knowledge guy. He knows so much about what he's doing, and it would just be, you know, it would be remiss of us not to bring him on, because this is Mr. Atlanta, Mr. Southeast, really just knows it all within this business, and it's just a wealth of knowledge. And Mahar, if you're on, brother, man, we certainly want to hear from you.
What's up, Mahar?
What's up, bro?
Like you in the office, man.
I am. So my office is in my house. I think I've told you guys this, like, I'm a firm believer in my business exists for my lifestyle, not my lifestyle exists for my business. And I think,
What's up? I like that.
so that's how, so when we got our house, a few years ago, me and Danielle, my wife Danielle, Jasmine Design and Build, when we were looking for our house, I had a lot of requirements. I had 3 requirements. I had, number 1, obviously I got to be able to live there. Number 2, I think like an investor, so I need an income stream. And number 3, I don't want to commute every single day because Atlanta traffic sucks, as you guys know that, right? So I said to myself, this is what I want. And we started looking for houses as an investor. We're like, all right, we'll renovate one. We couldn't find one, and we ended up buying a couple of lots. And so we were like, let's just build one, right? And so we built it. So my commute is walking down the stairs. So this entire floor right here is all my offices, all of our people, etc. When coronavirus is not happening, they come in over here and we have a conference room and all that stuff. So
That's what's
That's
up.
what's up.
yeah, so coronavirus hasn't really stopped us, right? But first and foremost, guys, thanks so much for inviting me to talk about this. A lot of people have been hitting me up, and I've been working on sharing more. But at this time, you know, like all the other panelists have said, like, stay busy, right? Stay busy and continue to develop your craft. So I know you guys wanted me to share kind of what we're doing, what my thought process is on all of this. So I like to be creative in kind of how I deliver information. So I thought about basically like a 3-prong approach, right? I'm calling it the triple S, right? So right now, like, we're going through a time that probably, I wouldn't say probably, it's true, most of us have never seen, right? So most of us have never seen the time, you know, like a virus, right? Bill Gates said it on a TED Talk in 2015. I don't know if you guys know. He was like, you know, what we're most underprepared for as a country, as a society, is a virus. And it's crazy. 5 years later, it plays out. He's got a TED Talk on YouTube. I would highly encourage you guys to listen to it. So I appreciate the introduction. You guys told me, said to me that I'm a knowledge guy. My number one value in my life, I do NLP, and so there's a process of like figuring out your values and whatnot. And my number one value, which showed up for me, was curiosity, right? I am incredibly curious. So I'm always learning, always reading, always trying to pick up something new. And I'm an entrepreneur, so I've started many, many businesses, and some of them pan out, but most of them don't, right? But the ones that pan out end up panning out way further than the ones that don't, right? And so it's like, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So the 3-pronged strategy that I'm really referring to, and why this is important, is so that you guys can not just survive in the market right now, but be able to thrive. Because I started this business 12 years ago. We all remember what happened 12 years ago was the 2008 market crash, right? The financial crash. That's when I started this business. And I owe a lot of the success that I've had thus far because I was smart during those times. I wasn't savvy yet because I didn't have a lot of experience, but I was smart enough to go ahead and develop my business out during those times. And I learned I scraped my knees, broke some ankles, you know, bled, etc. And I kept getting back up, kept getting back up. And as a result of that, yeah, we flipped a ton of properties. We've made a lot of money in this business through what I call like short-term income gains. But what's really built our wealth, what's built our net worth was the properties that we bought to hold. Because I own most, if not all, the properties that I bought during those 3 or 4 years still. And they have gone up in value tremendously, right? So you want to be poised for a situation in, say, 6, 9, I don't know how long this is going to last, right? But whenever the economy kind of opens up again, I think that we're going to see a lot more opportunity as well, right? So what this 3-prong approach is what I call like sustain, sprout or stack, right? And shine, right? So sustain, what do I mean by that? So the first thing is to sustain. Like right now, the most important thing is making sure that your business is going to survive. We spoke about this a few days ago when we were chatting on the phone, and I said, here's what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of people that end up just losing, right? And it's unfortunate, right? But they've been operating from a mindset, say, that was working. You know, I mean, we were doing it too. We were selling wholesale deals for, I mean, we run stats, we keep key performance indicators for everything that happens in our business. And we were running our deals and we were buying on average at like 74, 75% of ARV. And we were selling them on average 82, 83% of ARV, right? So we were finding those buyers. Now, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't buy half of the deals that I was selling out there. But there were buyers out there, right? I'm gonna be real, right? There were buyers out there buying, right? So it's not my job to decide what other buyers should do. It's their job to go ahead and educate themselves so they can figure out what works in this market, what works for their model, right? So once we figured that out, we were like, okay, where do we believe that we're gonna be right now, right? So we began to understand, okay, what are the going rates? And Frank said this a little earlier, the retail side of the market has not taken much of a hit yet. In fact, the spring market's still thriving. I listed a property myself, so I'm a real estate agent as well. I listed a property on last Thursday, and it's already gone under contract for full price right now, right? A retail deal. So we rehabbed the house, and it was like 6 days on the market. We had multiple offers on it as well. And so the idea is, and I've spoken to a lot of agents over the last week and a half as well, and they keep telling me the same thing. They're getting new listings, they're getting things under contract, they're getting multiple offers. It's still a very competitive environment because interest rates have been suppressed. They're very low right now, right? So the first thing I would say is you got to sustain. Be hip to what's going on in the market right now. So how do you sustain? Everyone else said it on this call, so I'm not going to touch on it too long, but cut the fat, get lean, right? So the first thing that me and Danielle did was we looked at our personal finances and we said, all right, this is how we're living right now. Let's go ahead and cut. You know, what can we be okay with right now? So start personal, right? Because we want to develop our business around our lifestyle. So start personal. We figured out, okay, how low can we go where we're like, okay, that's too low, right? We don't want to live like that. But we're also not living like it's 2018 and 2019 anymore, right? So we cut the fat. Obviously, most of us are not going out to restaurants, right? So yeah, things like that. So cut the fat. And then what we did is we said, all right, if we cut the fat, then we can go ahead and drop our pay substantially to this much, right? And then we went to our business and we cut the fat out of our business, right? So sometimes it's tough conversations, right? But we looked at all these, you know, half of us, the types of checks we make in real estate can often be 5 or high 5 figures, sometimes even 6 figures, right? And so it's like, you're like, all right, I got a $100 subscription here and a $50 subscription there and a $20 subscription there. And we looked at it all and we're like, wow, there's all these subscriptions we have that just dripping money out every single month. Why don't we cut out this because we don't even use this anymore? Why don't we cut out that, et cetera, et cetera? And we started cutting out business expenses that we were not even utilizing anymore, right? So like Frank said, you know, invest in the data that is going to benefit you and cut out the fat that is not necessarily going to benefit you. So that's the first thing. So with all of this, sustain, right? So now it's like, okay, now I've figured out where I can cut my personal expenses, cut my business expenses. The next thing I want to do is I want to utilize strategies that are going to reduce my risk. Right now, it's all about reducing risk. Why? Because there's tremendous uncertainty. Like, we're still in the beginning of whatever's going on right now. April has not hit. And when April hits, I got friends around the country that own 200-300 rentals. And they're like, bro, I don't know if I'm going to get paid even 50% of my rents, right? And how long is that sustainable?
Did we lose him?
Might have just froze just for a second, but he was dropping some knowledge. He was dropping some bombs. So we'll just wait. We'll wait for him to get back on. But he's definitely dropping some bombs, man. Cutting that fat is key. Getting your personal is right.
He raised his hand. I think he went off and went back on. He raised his hand. Might want to bring him back on as a panelist.
Whew. All
right, can you see me and hear me?
Yeah, man.
We got you back. We got you back, man. You can't be dropping them niggas and get cut off, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, it never fails. For some reason, my Zoom crashes, and like, I'll tell you why. I've been fairly lazy. I've needed a new computer for a while. I bought a new computer, and I have had it sitting in a box for 9 months, and I haven't opened it yet. Anyway, moving on, right? So where was I? All right, so let me jump back into this. All right, I get passionate about when I speak. You guys know that about me. But it's like, so what I was saying is reduce risk, right? That's one of the top things right now is like, how do you reduce risk? So when you're cutting your expenses, obviously you're reducing risk, right? And then the strategy to utilize right now, so we're like, all right, there's a lot of buyers right now that are not buying, right? So there's a lot of buyers right now that are just not buying in the marketplace. A lot of cash buyers are out. A lot of hard money lenders are out. So how do we reduce risk? By decreasing our ownership. So this is where true wholesaling comes to light. So you guys might have heard of the concept of reverse wholesaling, right? So find your buyers first. Reach out to a ton of buyers. Create a team of people. Like many of us have teams, right? Create a team of people that are just calling buyers. Like y'all know how to find buyers. Cash buyers off of public records, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I'm not going to get into that because that's another time for another call, right? But find buyers that are actually buying. Build relationships, right? So find out what people are buying. I'm still buying, but I'm buying. My buying criteria has changed. So you want to find buyers that are still buying. What are they buying? And then go out into the marketplace and find what it is they're buying. Right? It's reverse wholesaling. How easy is it to sell a property when you already have a buyer lined up? Right? Really freaking easy. So that's the next thing. So it's like reverse wholesaling. So reduce ownership, go back to contract assignments. I think Glenn said that, right? Old school wholesaling, right? Where people are not doing double closes and stuff like that. Even if it's a double close, that still works, right? Because you're going to flip the property the second that you buy it. So assignments, double closes, things like that, and then cash flow, right? So cash flow, concentrate on building cash flow. So for us, we're still going to be all right because we still have cash flow. Now, Keto, right? I've been watching and learning from the other panelists too, by the way. So Keto said this. He said, have a portion of your portfolio be government rents, right? Like housing authority. So I'd say about half of my rental portfolio is Section 8. So guess what? I might not get paid through half of them if all of my market tenants don't pay, but I'll still get paid through the other half because they're Section 8, right? So develop cash flow. And we're going to see a time in the next 6, 12 months, I believe, right? I can't tell the future, none of us can, but I believe that we're going to be able to buy things for much cheaper than we have been able to for the last 3, 4, 5 years, right? So get your like stack up. So that's my second one. So sustain was first, right? Second thing is to stack, right? So I don't mean just stack cash, right? Obviously that's one of the fundamental things, and that's pretty easy, but I'm going to explain what I mean by that, right? Stack your buyers list, right? Find the real buyers out there. I just said that, right? Stack your buyers list. Make connections. We're all sitting at home, right? You guys all have a database. Like, pull out your phone, right? Pull out your phone, and if you have 10,000, 2,000, 5,000 people on it, call them, right? Just keep on calling. Find out what they're doing. What are you doing right now with the marketplace, right? There's a lot of people out of work right now. Y'all need cold callers? Pick up the phone. See if you can pay them something to make phone calls for you, right? So connections, like develop your connections, real estate agents, et cetera, et cetera. Stack your knowledge. That's in the last 24 hours, I've enrolled in 2 different online courses. A lot of people are just offering their courses for free for 30 days. I'm like, all right, I could be sitting around in Netflix chilling, or I could be learning something and chilling. It's the same damn difference, right? So I'm learning something and I'm chilling, right? So stack your knowledge. Private money and hard money. Yeah, there's a lot of hard money lenders that are out right now, but here's the thing. There are still many lenders still in. So start making those connections again. Develop relationships. This is a time to cultivate, right? I've started sharing more on social media just during this time. Why? I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm preparing. Right? I'm preparing for everybody, at least in the metro Atlanta market, to know who the heck I am, that we're real buyers, right? So that when the market opens back up, they're going to think of me, yo, this guy's a real cash buyer. He ain't getting cash from hard money lenders or private lenders. Sometimes I do have private lenders. And so what do? I've been picking up the phone. I've been reaching out to every single one of my private lenders saying, hey, here's the situation. Get ready. Get ready. You got a couple $100,000 with me? Can we go ahead and add a 0 to that, right? If they have it. But that's what I'm saying, right? Like, go out, develop your cash, stack knowledge, stack connections, stack cash. Stack knowledge, stack connections, stack cash. That's it. That's the game right now, grow. And then the last piece is shine, right? This is going to be your opportunity to build massive wealth. It's times like this that people quadruple, quintuple, make 10 times their wealth. Warren Buffett, right? Arguably, probably the smartest investor that we've ever seen. Before all of this has been going down, he's been sitting on, do you know how much money? $128 billion, right? Just sitting. Guess what I've been doing? For the last 2.5 years, I've been preparing for some sort of recession. I didn't know it was going to be the coronavirus. I knew something was going to happen because we can't be in an up market forever, right? It's cycles, right? Study the past, right? This goes back to the last one, stack knowledge. Study the past. Study what happened in 2007, 2008, 2009. Study what happened in the dot-com bust in 2000, 2001, and 2. Study what happened in the early 90s, late 80s, and the early 80s, when there were all these other recessions, right? So that you can understand patterns, right? So that you guys can be in a position 3 months from now, 6 months from now to shine, right? So build wealth. This is going to be your massive opportunity. And I think a lot of wholesalers are realizing right now that they probably should have built more cash flow. Right? Yeah. So when you make a $10,000 check, that doesn't mean you're going to go out and take a vacation. Like, stack that cheese, right? Stack it. And then go ahead and stack some more. invest in yourself, invest in your company, invest in education. It's huge. So that's pretty much like what I really wanted to share. I know I'm generally a very high level guy, but sometimes we've had conversations for like an hour, 2 hours, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
like one of the things I always remember is that time when this was many years ago. I think it was at one of Frank's meetups. We sat down and we chatted for like a couple hours. I was like, you guys, y'all think that you can only make 5 or 10 G's on a wholesale deal. I was like, I'm going to challenge you guys to go ahead and make 20 or 30 or 40 grand on a wholesale deal. It's still got to be a good deal. I'm not saying cheat people out of money, right? But it's what I say earlier on this call. I'm not the buyer of my own deals. So I go out and I find those heavy hitter buyers that don't mind spend, like the hedge funds, like the people that are building cash flow, et cetera. They don't care about buying something at 60 or 65 or 70% of ARV minus repairs. They'll buy it at 85% or 90% because they need to bring a return to their clients, right? So that's kind of what I was saying. And you tell me, has it changed your business tremendously?
Absolutely. From that conversation we had, and that, it's on YouTube, I believe. So we're gonna repost that conversation. But from that conversation we had, man, that helped us out, man. That was at Frank's meetup that we had that conversation, and since then, I mean, your words were very prophetic, and since then, I mean, we've done well, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and say this, guys. Listen to what Mahar is saying. I mean, this is, this is beyond steak. This is, this is filet, whatever it is, man. But this is.
I'm vegetarian, bro.
Oh, yeah.
This is that thing, man. So yeah, guys. Listen. I'm beyond excited about this. Mahar, if you don't mind, brother, we're gonna bring you back on. Because people have crazy questions, it's all filling up, man. Probably in about 15, 20, 30 minutes, we're going to bring you back on, man, and drop some more bombs, man. We certainly appreciate it, man. Thank you.
For sure, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate that perspective, man. I like that three steps, man. I like that.
Love it.
Appreciate that perspective.
Well,
hey guys, we almost at the end, but we having fun. We got one more speaker. Then we're gonna kind of get to some questions. We may go over a little bit on questions, but that's cool. I think everybody enjoying themselves. I mean, I'm getting a lot of knowledge. I'm getting text messages from our peers and everybody saying this is so good. Yeah. And we just like, even what we going through right now with all this Corona stuff going on, like we really need to hear like facts. You know what I'm saying? We need to hear facts, and all of this stuff that's been talked about is facts. It's good information. It's good media. You know what I'm saying? Forget all that CNN right now. Like, we need to be listening to our community. What is our community? What's going on in our city? Wherever you're from, I know it's people from all over. You need to have your ears to the streets right now. You know what I'm saying? So this next guy we bringing on, his ears is always to the street. We call him the mayor of Atlanta. Besides Keisha Lance, he's the second mayor. And this is our big brother. You know what I'm saying? We love him so much, and we had to bring him on. And we want to get his perspective. You know what I'm saying? As the last speaker for today. And we ready to rock and roll, bro. You on Mr. Flipology 101, aka Ramon Tukes. So you there, brother?
It got a. I think we can see you. We can see your avatar, but we can't hear you, my brother.
Is he a panelist, or his avatar raised hand? Is he on as a panelist? Shit.
Come on. I see somebody else up. Let's make sure that that we can get Mr. Tukes up.
Do you think we need to try like Frank and take him off and bring him back on?
Yeah, take him off and bring him back on. Just like that. I love how it just disappears and then it comes back.
Right.
Like the Jetsons.
Disappears. And then you hear the little doorbell. Ding, ding.
There it is. It's like Star Trek. Jetsons coming right back. Ramon,
See, I'm back.
Ramon, we can see your avatar. Is there a way that you can, I think, hit that bottom button? There we are. There we are.
Well, he
Now,
got muted. So now you got to just turn his video on.
now you just got to turn your video on, I believe. Disappear again.
Man, it's some good information.
Yeah,
We
this
appreciate you guys hanging on. I know you guys been patient with us, and we've been on here just providing value. That was one of the things we wanted to do on this call, on this meetup today, was just provide as much value as possible, not only just from me and Tim's perspective, but from everybody. So this is our community. These, are our brothers and our sister who was on earlier, and their advice, is everything to us. So we definitely respect what they bring to the table.
okay. So I think he came back.
There you go.
There he is. There's the man.
There you go with the V-neck on.
Hey man, this a daycare around here, man. We gotta do what we gotta do around here, man. What's the word, y'all?
You don't have a suit on, so I'm just a little.
No cleaners. The cleaners not open. We not putting on suits right now.
Listen, guys, y'all know, the way that we're laughing. I mean, this our brother right here, and this big brother to us, and we'd be remiss. I mean, he like when I say that he's been in the business a long time, he's been in the business a long time, and he knows everything about Atlanta. And guys, we'd be remiss to say, just, if you can, brother, just drop some of the knowledge. We're just going to go ahead and let it be yours, man. I know you were taking notes earlier.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, look. I was taking notes.
Wow.
First of all, I want to thank from the start, Glenn started us off right and set the atmosphere the right way. And then, everybody that's been on here, Nicole, Mohar, of course, you guys are always a true blessing, man. I tell people all the time, I don't compete with folks. I always collaborate, but that's a day of the month that we just know that this Saturday of the month, we don't do any events, even if it means we got to send everybody to you guys. So it's so much respect for everybody that's been on this call today. And I appreciate it, man, because I can tell you from the start, man, I got 2 pages of notes, which is always helpful. And it's been free, and I know y'all believe in free. I don't.
I know, right?
Some of the things that were said from everybody will change the way I do business. We talked, I guess, yesterday maybe, and we just talked about how we felt about what's happening. I think Mohar and Frank just cleared up some stuff about how things are still going retail. I'm going to rely on you guys about how to negotiate. That's kind of your expertise. I know we can read it. I read it. I've been at it 24 years, but there's still people better than me at negotiating. So, kind of what I want to talk about is really, man, raising capital and partnerships. The partnerships that we have with you guys is amazing. We closed our first deal not too long ago, and it was a blessing after 5 or 6 years of knowing each other and really loving each other and mentoring each other. It took a minute, right? But we got to be patient. But right now we got to develop our relationships and partnerships like no other. We got to go deep. I know at the top of the year I talked with our team about we've been going wide for so long. Like we know so many people, but we got to really develop those on our team. And I stopped taking coaching students last November because I wanted to develop those that are already on our team. It doesn't make sense to keep going wide when we can go deep, and we really got, this is a time where we got to latch on and go deep. And, as we are pushing up and as we are pulling up on people, we got to be pushing up. We got to be making sure that I'm valuable to you. Like I want to be like whoever it is, whether it be Frank need me to come sweep a driveway while he's teaching. If you guys need us to come and set up the pop-ups at, wholesalers or whatever it is, we got to be doing that. So relationships for me, man, is going to be like, that's how we're going to get through this. We're not getting through this no other kind of way. It ain't about money, because it's some wealthy people that wish they had the right relationships right now, and they don't have it. So it ain't just about the money, you know. I want to make sure everybody knows that if you're on here and you follow Tim and Will, just know that they are probably two of the best people you're going to ever meet. And they're not paying me for this, you know what I mean? Their relationships are probably the best I've ever seen. I mean, you see who they had on here. Keto, that's our brother. Mohar, Frank. You know, Frank probably doesn't know, but I follow Frank a lot and listen to what Frank says. Mohar, same thing. Like you said, he is like Frank broke it down like the 6 things was like, damn, like you know, well, I'm like, damn, Frank.
Right.
You know, I'm starting to feel like I got to go back to school.
Right.
And then Mohar comes on here with the 3 S's. You know, we already had Keto and Glenn, and then, you know, I mean, it's just we got an amazing opportunity. It's no need for us to have any fear. And then y'all, we talk about the spiritual side of things, but you know, I said it the other day, y'all, if it's over, if the world is going to end, we all right. And since we don't think the world getting ready to end, we're going to be all right. It's about being patient, about continuing to use our resources. And in my opinion, what's happening now is it's going to weed out that BS that we've been dealing with. I like 65 cents on the dollar. I think we all have always liked 65 cents on the dollar. But as a community, we have to remind each other on a daily basis. You know, when people bring us stuff, you know, we're not competing. We got to say, y'all got to stay in that 65 cents on the dollar. That's the way we were trained from the start. 65 cents on the dollar. This thing went up to like 75, 80 cents on the dollar, and there's no way for us to compete with that. It's no way. I'm not. I don't. You know, we won't compete with that. So, you know, I think the lenders are going to listen to us now, because it's really been the lenders' fault, if y'all want to blame anybody, because they have been lending at that 75 cent, no money out of pocket kind of thing. That I'm glad is going away. I am, and I'm not being negative with anybody, but what it is, it's going to make people be real investors. It's going to make us, if I don't have the money, I got to wholesale it. And not go in there with 100% down financing, and then I don't have any money. Nicole said it, you know, you got to have some reserve, and that's going to change the way we do business. So just all the things that I've heard today, man, one of the biggest things I want to say, you know, is continue to build y'all relationships, continue to educate yourselves, stay with Tim and Will. You're not going to go wrong. I don't care how shiny that nickel is that you see on social media. They ain't going nowhere. They the solid foundation that you need, and it's going to be an amazing thing. But here's another thing I want to say, and I know we running on time, but raising capital, and I don't mean going out raising private capital. I mean building your own self up, building your own credit. Like if you got 6 months and we feel like the market's going to drop in 6 months, or it's going to be a time for us to really grab some deals. Well, if you got your credit straight, if you built some business credit, if you got some business funding lined up, even if you wanted to hold, I mean, everybody on here said, hey, get some, get some Atlanta housing program. And I don't call it Section 8 anymore. It's called, what is it? Housing choice money. So if you get some, don't get in trouble. If you get some housing choice money, wherever you are, whether it be Atlanta or whatever city it is, you got to be able to refinance. And if your credit bad and you get into a deal and you enter that 60 cents on the dollar, how are you going to refinance? So you still got to sell the deal. You still got to wholesale the deal. So right now for the next 6 months, I'm telling you guys, one, if your credit is not up to par and your credit profile, start learning about that. You know, sit at home, write the letters. A lot of these agencies not even going to respond to you. So stuff's going to fall off anyway. I'm going to say, do that. And then start looking at getting some money from, your business credit. And you can do that in 6 months. It's a 90 to 6 month process for some of us. And if you got the credit, you know what I mean, go ahead now and start getting the capital, because the deals are going to start coming. I think Mohar said it best. We're going to be in position to take advantage of the market, but you got to start now. You can't keep sitting around. And I know Mr. Wilson going to get on me. I just said that word. You're not able to continue to sit around and, wish and wait on the sky to fall. I think, what is that, Chicken Little in the sky fall? Everybody waiting for the sky to fall out, and we've all said, oh, I can't wait till this happens. It's here now. It's here. it's time. And so over the we're listening, we're on this call. We're part of a great network where we're going to learn. And what you don't know, don't be ashamed to not know it. What you don't have, don't be ashamed to say I don't have it, because the only way you're going to get it or learn it is we know that you need it. Same thing for me. Like I'm telling y'all, like I took some great notes, because some of those things I may have known it, but I forgot it. Or some of the things I just didn't know. I mean, Frank gets on here with, I don't know, what does Frank get this stuff from? Like,
Reading your comment.
Frank will be my coach, man. I can't wait to know, you know. But I mean, we need that, y'all. And I know this is not surface level stuff. And I know we smile a lot of times, but the biggest thing is, man, continue to build our relationships. Go deep. Go deep. We don't have to have 400 people on our team, you know. And then start working on your capital, because when it opens up, y'all, when these opportunities, and they're starting to open up, y'all. When they start to open up and bring these deals, you got to be in position to take advantage of them. And I think for me, that's where we are, man. That's what I'm telling my team. You know, let's work a little bit harder. Let's organize our business a little bit better while we are still. I can tell you, man, this has been probably all my life. This has been the calmest I've been at least since I've been grown. Like, to sit still for more than 8 hours in the house, Lord, right? But this has been, I haven't been stressed. You know, we haven't been like running around to all the kids events. This is like grandmama house. You know, you come in, you go outside and you play, you come back in, you eat, and then you come back in, you read, and then you go to sleep, right? This has been that kind of time. But that's why that generation was so great, man. They wasn't worried about, I mean, in my eyes, they weren't worried about anything, even the food ration. So, you know, like, they would put a pot of beans on the stove, and that's what we learning how to do now. We can cook, we can spend time with our families, we can organize. I mean, think about it. I mean, I don't know. I'm from the South. I'm from right here. And I remember coming home from school, and it would be a pot of beans on the table, on the stove. And if you got cornbread, you were good, right? But that was all she had. And so, but we didn't remember that the next day. We didn't remember we had beans. You know, we had a thing of beans. So I think this thing is making us look at life a little bit differently. And I'm not happy for it, but it has done some things that I think will forever change the way I live and my family live. And I think all of us, how we do business. So, you know, we got to be appreciative of this time, but use it to our advantage. You know, go out and make sure we're making ourselves better, and spend 2 or 3 hours in the morning working on your credit and 2 or 3 hours working on capital, and we'll be fine. So for me, man, that's really what I want to say. Tim and Will.
Come on, question.
Yes.
When you say raising capital, once somebody is in a position where they can raise, you know, how many ever dollars that they can get to, are you telling them, is your opinion to invest in buying homes or be for fix and flips, or what would that capital be more suited for? So what's your opinion?
So I think, when I do like consults with people, Will, I always ask folks, you know, I want to know where you are, kind of, what are your thoughts, what do you feel, what's your risk tolerance? So somebody may not want fix and flips, right? Fix and flips not for the faint of heart. Like, it's not. And I know we smile and laugh, but I can tell y'all, man, it can drive you crazy, man. Like, it because, you know, even when you're working out of a system, some of the delays, like even right now, you know, last week we were not able to do anything. And so, man, we were like, whoa, but we figured it out now, you know, how to do the renovations. I think everybody should have rental properties. Yeah. I think everybody should, like everybody, no matter who you are, right? So often people get into, they get caught up into, oh, I want something in the city of Atlanta. I'm from here, and I don't care nothing about owning something in Atlanta. I care about the income that's going to take care of our family, that we're going to be able to sustain through things like this, right? You know, if you got something and I'll say, I don't know, Macon, that you paid $25,000 for, you're getting $500 a month. If you can get a mortgage on it, that mortgage is going to be $200 a month. If you put it on a credit card, that credit card payment is going to be, and you can figure out how to find $200 a month. But if you got a property and it's $300,000 and you were going to miraculously rent it out some kind of special way, well, that payment $2,000 a month. And that's a whole nother lifestyle. So, I'm telling folks, man, just,
Right.
if you're able to, find some funding, raise some capital, we are getting people business credit cards and business lines of credit right now. We just sold a deal in Cleveland, Ohio. It was a duplex, and the young lady had a credit card at $50,000. She's paying $14,000 for a duplex. She's gonna put another 40 in it, right? But she's gonna get $1,300 a month. So, those kind of deals are out there within a system. I'm not saying just go run and go find something somewhere. You got to still work with people, and people are going to make money. So the fix and flips, I'm going to say yes. But Mohar said something to me the other day. Mohar was like, Ramon, yeah, I may have been paying $160. I'm paying $140 now. You got to make sure you can sustain through that. Somebody like Mohar has the system. Frank's probably building God knows how much. I mean, you seen them houses Frank build? I wouldn't dare do that. I wouldn't, but that's Frank's philosophy. Frank can sustain a $500,000 modern house. That's not what our model, entails. So, I mean, I think everybody has to understand where they are. Don't look at somebody else. Don't look at, man, somebody's been, you don't know what we're going through to even hold on. You don't know what we've had to go through to get there. So I would say just look at your own, where you are. It may be mine a mobile home for $3,000, Will. Just whatever it is, do something. Like, don't sit still, do something so that you generate some money every month. If you start off generating $200 a month, you just need 5 of those, and that's $1,000 a month.
Right. That's good, man. That's good.
Yep. So
You on mute, Tim? I think I heard you trying to speak, but we couldn't hear you.
No, I was just gonna say, one thing that I think is really, really important, man, and I certainly appreciate you bringing this up, because for the longest time, I didn't think that credit was important, but I mean, it's extremely important. And I'm just going to say, like, right now is the time. If you don't have credit, or you don't have good credit, then this is the time to go ahead and just kind of work it out. It doesn't take that long to take your credit from, bad to good, only if you're diligent, and you have to be diligent at it. If you're diligent at it, then you can make it happen within a certain amount of time, and you got to focus on it. So I certainly appreciate you bringing that up, because when you have good credit, it opens up so many more opportunities for you. Whether it be business credit, whether it be credit lines, credit, whatever, it opens up opportunities for you. And then you can start using this money the way that the money is supposed to be used. So I certainly appreciate you bringing that up, Mayor, man. This is truly, truly been a blessing.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, man, yeah.
Hey, so let me say this though, this call, man.
Bring him right back on. He was trying to say something. Good shit. Bring him right back on.
There we are.
There you go. Go ahead, bro. What you saying?
You still on mute?
You're on mute, bro. You're on mute.
Okay. No, I was just saying this has been an amazing call. I'm glad that I was able to sit through the entire thing. Again, we run like crazy, and normally, I wouldn't, no way possible on a Saturday morning, I would have been able to get this kind of knowledge with you guys and be a part of this, just because we're always running. It's AAU time, it's basketball, whatever it is, there's no way possible. So I thank God that I was able to sit today and I think I signed on at 10:45. So, I was like anticipating and excited about being a part of it. So I just wanted to say thank you guys for having this, man. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of it.
We appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for that, man.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah. Feel the shit don't be cut me off either though.
You cut the mirror off. The mirror got to finish getting all the words out now.
All right, thank y'all, man.
All right, brother.
All right, bro. Appreciate it.
Minutes, okay? We're gonna bring you back on.
I'm on here.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, guys. Look, this has been the creme de la creme of a meetup. I'm not gonna lie. This has been the best possible meetup that it could have been. So I'm excited, guys. We're approaching that time, but But listen, you know, we're going to actually do some Q&A. So we're going to do the Q&A as just a little bit of an overspill. So guys, if you guys want to stick on with us, we certainly would appreciate it. And Will, you want to get some of our stuff out the way?
Yeah, let me do a little housekeeping real quick before we bring our panelists back on for questions. Again, the reason why, you know, we started this community back in 2015, like Ramon even said, you know, everything we do is for free. You know, we pretty much put aside time just to be able to give back. Even like this meetup today, all the value that you guys have gotten, like I can literally say, like everybody who spoke today, I mean, probably 50 plus years altogether of the business, 50 plus years of knowledge that you guys got today for free. And I mean, this is worth, I mean, this information was worth thousands of dollars, you know, just to be able to hear what was heard and, you know, being able to hear from those people. These people are mentors, they are businessmen and women. And, you know, a lot of them have educational platforms, you know, where they do charge. So we're grateful that they was able to be on here for free. But back in 2015, when me and Tim put this together, the sole purpose was to get back and was to create a community, because we knew that in times like this, a community would be everything. You know, we need to hear positive feedback from our fellow investors. We need to hear feedback from the people that's getting started so we can kind of point them in the right direction. We need the experienced people to speak out so the community can hear and know what the next steps to do, because some people depend on what Tim is going to say for, you know, for they can get some feedback on what their next move need to be. Some people depend on what Ramon is going to say. Some people depend on Keto. Some people depend on Glenn and Frank and Mahar and even, you know, Nicole. So we needed to hear that today. We want you guys, before we bring the people back on, we want to invite you guys to our Monday call. If everybody has been on our call, I'm sure a lot of you guys have been on our call. We have nothing for sale on our call. Only thing the purpose and the reason why we're so passionate about our call every Monday is because in times like this where we have a crisis going on, mindset is everything. I know, you know, everybody didn't get a chance to really touch on mindset because we were kind of focused on the crisis and everything that's going on. But everybody that came on today are big mindset advocates. They love mindset. They teach mindset. They all have segments where they go in depth about mindset. So we all think alike from that standpoint. But the Monday call, if you guys want to jump on, use this same link that you logged on today. Make sure you use this same link to log on. We're going to make it back active, make it so you guys can jump on Monday at 8 p.m. This Monday at 8 p.m. We're going to go a little bit more in depth about mindset. We're going to talk about what you need to be doing right now to build your mind up mentally, spiritually, so you guys can survive through this crisis of what's going on. Because I'm going to be honest with you, we got a lot of education today, but again, it goes back to the mind. It goes back to the way you think. It goes back to the way you approach all of this stuff that we learned today from Frank and Mahar and everybody that gave educational segments. It means nothing if your mind is not in the right place. So Monday is the time where a lot of people will be dragging. They be like, you know, it's another week, you know. But the good thing about it is a lot of you not even working right now. So you need to be at home with the proper mindset, the proper spirituality. You need to, you know, put God first and ask him, what is my next step? What do I need to be doing? A lot of this, what we're talking about, is good information. But I'm going to be honest with you. My God got to tell me what the next move is. He got to tell me what my next step is. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's next path is different. So make sure you have that relationship with God where God can point you in the right direction of what you need to be doing. He can put $1 million idea in your mind and it's only just for you, you know. So make sure you listen out for his guidance and his word so it can help you get to the next level. And we're going to come on every Monday at 8 o'clock. And we're going to keep pounding that mindset in your head. We're going to keep pounding it in there. We're going to answer questions. And we're going to make sure that this community is open for everybody to be able to learn, everybody to be able to be mentally strong and mentally tough so we can get through this situation. And we're going to come out on the other end on top, and we're going to come out as victors. You know what I'm saying? Not victims. We're going to come out as victors. So anything else, bro, before we bring everybody else on? I just want to make sure we had everybody for the call. And also talk to them about deals. We're looking for deals. So, you know, tell them about the deals.
Yeah, we're looking for deals, guys. Look, we like to say we're still buying houses. So we're looking for deals. So send all deals to REI wholesalers are us at gmail.com. That's REI wholesalers at gmail.com. We're either buying or we've got a buyer, one or the other. So if it's a deal, we'll sit down and we'll analyze it, and we'll get right back to you, let you know exactly what we can do to assist you and to turn your deal into dollars. And one other thing, guys, check us out. We've had a YouTube page up for a minute, but this is kind of gave us an opportunity to actually put some of our videos up there. We've actually have a couple of our Monday motivational mindset Mondays on our YouTube page now. Go to REI Wholesalers Are Us for YouTube and join our page, because you're going to see a lot of valuable content come up even more. So go to our page on YouTube, REI Wholesalers Are Us, and comment, like our videos. Like I said, our stuff is free, so support your community, support your boys. So we certainly appreciate it.
So I know we about at close to the 2 o'clock mark, which is the time for the meetup. But I've gotten everybody to agree to stay on. So if you guys find we're staying on probably another, I guess, 20 or 30 minutes, we want to go into some questions, because we were getting a whole lot of questions within this, 2-3 hours that we've been online getting all this information. So if you guys want to hang on, if you guys got questions, we're finna bring everybody back on. Lachette, you can go ahead and activate all of our participants back. We're gonna do a big old video group chat. So as questions coming in, we'll be able to go ahead and take those questions on. And also, we also didn't even give them the opportunity to share how to follow them on social media. We want to make sure that you are following all of them on social media. Everybody has something different going on, so you definitely want to be following all of these individuals that's actually taking the time to speak today. So make sure you guys are following everybody. I'll start with mine. If you guys want to find me on Facebook, I'm William Galloway. If you want to find me on Instagram, I'm at Uncle Bill Buy Houses. Tim, you want to go ahead and share your information real quick?
Yeah, on Facebook, I'm Tim Harvey, and on Instagram, I'm Who Is Tim Harvey.
Okay, and you guys can go ahead and share y'all information, y'all how to get in touch with y'all, and then we'll go into questions.
We'll
you guys a chance to share y'all information. Whoever want to start first is fine.
I'll go next. I'm Frank Iglesias.
Okay, Frank.
You can reach us at 678-408-2228. Again, 678-408-2228. Our email is info, I-N-F-O, @workingwithhouses.com, info@workingwithhouses.com. You can find us on all the social media platforms. We're pretty easy to find.
Cool. Who wants to go next? Nicole, we can see you, but we can't hear you.
Some people have been hitting me up on Facebook, but you can just give me a call. I'll just put my number out there at this time. If you need to just call, that's totally fine. And I can share all the social media handlings with you. But my direct number right here is 404-399-7972. I'd be happy to have a free consultation with you just to see where you are and where you want to go. 404-399-7972. Everyone have a blessed weekend.
Yes.
That's it.
All right.
That's my name right there. Malhar Be Real on Instagram. So you guys can find me on Instagram, Malhar Be Real. That's the best way to get in touch with me, is just text me on that.
Cool, my brother.
So I'm Keto J Johnson. My middle initial J is important. My dad told me growing up, son, when you're doing business, at least use your middle initial. So I do. That's been a part of my branding. So Keto, K-I-T-O J Johnson on every platform, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and my website is ketojjohnson.com.
Perfect.
So are we only allowed to use our middle initial if we wear tailored suits.
Hey,
No.
you know how
I'll
difficult
say
it
no.
was for me to show up without a haircut, right?
Look,
Without a haircut.
I use my middle initial. I use my middle initial. But I don't have as many tailored suits as Keto does. So
Always
You wear
leave it
bow
to
ties,
Ramon
though.
and Glenn. Like, leave it to Ramon and Glenn.
I'm sorry, Keto. I'm sorry. Look, for me, I'm Ramon Tooks on all social medias. I put it in the chat. You can text me on my cell phone at 404-246-5930. It's easier now to call the office. They have made me stop giving out the cell phone number, but it's easier that way. But you can call the office at 404-618-0718.
And I guess I'll go next. Since I'm following the trend, I'm Glenn E. Glasper. I'm Glenn E. Glasper. That doesn't have anything to do with tailored suits. I hope. Look, I hope, because if it does, I'm gonna have to get rid of the E. But
your E represents your bow tie. So if you don't have a tailored suit, wear a bow tie and you're good.
Right.
okay, I'll take that. So yeah, I'm Glenn E. Glasper on Facebook. Everything else, Mr. Dollar Out of a Dime. Instagram, Mr. Dollar Out of a Dime. Actually on Facebook is Mr. Dollar Out of a Dime. And on Real Life Real Estate Investing as well on social media, on Instagram and Facebook, Real Life Real Estate Investing. My number is 678-203-5499. I've been put under somewhat of the same type of restriction Ramon has been put under. I was not supposed to give out my number, but I don't know how else to do that.
I do want to say this. I think that everybody who gave a number, that was awesome. But for the people on the other end, do not waste their time if you're not bringing value. Please, if you're going to call any one of them, make sure you're bringing value, because, their time is precious, so I just want you guys to respect that. There's nothing wrong with reaching out to them because they was kind enough to get their number or their contact, but make sure you guys are bringing value. Because each one of them have so much to give. So, just make sure it's an exchange. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you for that.
So do we got any, does everybody gave the information? Did we miss anybody before we go to the questions?
I think we got everybody. I think we got everybody, and everybody is down on the exchange. So we can go into the first question.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Probably don't want to take up a whole lot of time. Listen, I can't thank you guys enough, man, for this. This has been absolutely phenomenal. And I think I can speak for the other panelists that have come on. This has been amazing. I mean, listen, to be associated with the giants that have been on this, for you guys to put this together, man, I am humbled to be able to stand on the shoulders of guys like Ramon Tooks and Keto Johnson, Frankie Iglesias, and Malhar, and Nicole, and everybody that you guys put together on this. This has been absolutely amazing. I got my notes here too, Ramon. I took a lot of notes on a lot of stuff that y'all were saying. So again, thank you so much. And I'm a student first.
Thank you, my brother. Certainly appreciate it. Certainly appreciate that. Y'all don't miss the show on Wednesday.
Thanks.
Got some questions, Tim? Can you see the questions?
Yeah, let me see if I can let's see if I can pull something up.
If anybody got any questions right now, make sure you guys send them in. If it's directed to a certain person, or if it's not directed to a certain person, one of them will probably take the question on. So, but if it's a specific person, just make sure you tag their name in it, and we'll direct that question to them. We'll probably stay on to probably about, I guess, maybe 2:30 or so, to knock out a couple of questions real quick. So we want to make sure we respect everybody's time.
I'm trying to do it on my tablet, and I'm having a tough time.
Let me see if I can see
Trying
on my tablet.
Trying.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Erica said, Nicole, can you repeat your number again?
404-399-7972.
And also somebody asked Frank to repeat his as well.
678-408-2228. 678-408-2228.
All right. Somebody asked Mahar to repeat the threes again, the three S's again. You on mute, bro. You on mute.
My bad. New computer, just opened it up right now. So I wouldn't crash. The first one is sustain or survive, basically, what we're going through. The next thing is stack, and then I have like 3 things under that: stack knowledge, stack relationships, and stack cash. And then the last one was to shine, basically, which is build your wealth. In the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to get a tremendous amount of opportunity. So you want to be able to go ahead and capitalize on it. So how do you do that? Through step 2, which is stack.
perfect. One question, Ashley wants to know, what was the name of the first negotiations book that Frank mentioned?
The first book was called Secrets of Power Negotiating by Roger Dawson.
Okay.
Secrets of Power Negotiating by Roger Dawson.
Okay. All right. This is, can you guys expand on the kind of questions that you're asking buyers and sellers to requalify them? Anybody want to go first on that one? Buyers and sellers being requalified.
I'll talk about the buyers. So just basically, one of the biggest questions to ask right now is how are they financed? Because if they're financed through a hard money company that is no longer lending right now, or at least temporarily not lending right now, like they ain't gonna be able to get the deal closed. So what you can do as a wholesaler on that side is reach out to the hard money lenders to find out who is lending. Find out what their criteria is. So if they're calling you and they're saying, well, my hard money guy's not lending anymore, at least you have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different options. Maybe there's only 3 left, but if you have 3 options for them, now you're serving a purpose for them to continue on in their business. So you're adding value other than just selling them the property. That's what we've been doing, right? So getting in touch with more hard money lenders. I've been on the phone all last week and the week before that, asking people, hey, what are you guys lending on now? What are your criteria? Like Nicole said early on in the call, LTC and LTVs have changed, right? So understand that so you can educate your buyers. That's the buyer side of things. I'd be curious what you guys are doing on the seller side of things.
Somebody also asked, Anissa asked, what would be the best way to approach sellers in this time? And the only thing I would say is, I don't remember who said it earlier, but somebody brought up, I think it was Frank, brought up Michael Jordan, stick to the fundamentals. Nothing changes. That's just like, let me just say this, sports have been taken away from us, right? Once sports start back, people are not going to start shooting a jump shot different. They're going to stick to the fundamental. They're going to keep shooting the way they've been shooting. They're going to keep throwing the ball the way they've been throwing the ball. Nothing ever changes. The only thing is that you need to stay consistent with what's been taught since real estate started. Everything we've been talking about from day one, you just need to keep doing the same thing. Some of the things that are working is, of course, anytime you can get somebody on the phone, that's the best thing. If you can cold call them, if you can get them on the phone by texting, if you can find them on Facebook or reach out to them, communicating with people is always best, especially with everybody quarantining right now. It's probably the best time to get in touch with people. So the marketing doesn't change. The only thing that changes is what marketing channel that you choose, stand consistent with that, whatever fits your marketing budget, and staying consistent with it. Nothing else changes. The fundamentals is what they are. You can't change nothing that works. So the virus, all that stuff don't change none of that. You got to just stay consistent with what's been working since the beginning of time. So I don't know if anybody else want to expound something different on that, but I mean, everything still stays the same.
Yeah. The approach definitely stays the same. Like you said, the only thing that's changed is we are in a change window. And sellers and buyers are in change windows now. So now they are open to speaking to you now. So if you've been in this business for, let's say you've been in this business 5 months, 6 months, even a year, and you've been knocking on doors or, making cold calls or sending out letters, well, now's the time to just open. So keep doing the same thing that you're doing, keep plugging away, keep pushing. Now they're going to actually answer. So, the bottom line is at this time, don't quit, because this is the time when people are going to be actually open to you now because they have a reason to sell at this point.
Absolutely. Somebody asked Frank, what was the name of that comps website? Did you say Complete Comps or something like that?
CompleteComps.com.
Okay.
CompleteComps.com.
Okay. Somebody, Nicole and Keto. Okay, yeah, Cornell wants to know, based on the info today from Nicole and Keto, the buy formula from a wholesale perspective for analyzing deals and what cash buyers are using should be the ARV. Can you guys go ahead and expound on that?
Yeah, you want to go?
Yeah, I think you got the formula right. ARV at 65%, and based on some things Nicole said, maybe even consider 60% minus repairs should be a maximum allowable offer. If you are wholesaling, make sure you include your desired wholesale spread in that calculation, and that's how you create your MAO, your maximum allowable offer.
I agree. Take that ARV number, times that ARV number by 65%, and that needs to be your all-in, your purchase price as well as your rehab budget. Those two numbers combined have to fit in that 65% of that after repair value once you use the website to find out what you think that comparable is to sell in the future. Your Mayo formula.
Okay, perfect.
I had a quick question, and I don't know if anybody would have asked it, but Nicole actually said something that I don't think anybody has asked, maybe I missed it. I don't know if anybody said it about the future value. What are we thinking the future value of these properties now? I know before we would go on the ARV being what happened in the last 3 to 6 months. What would you guys say for future value? If we're doing ARV of whatever that future value could potentially be, we're doing 65%, are we doing the ARV based on comps before, or we're taking a percentage off on potential values in the future?
That's a good question.
Good
Nicola, are they being, and I guess I'm just going to venture to say that they're being a lot more conservative on appraisals and
Yeah.
They are, but you're still going to use your sales they're still going to go by the sales that you see on FMLS or Georgia MLS right now. So there's only the data that's out there is the data that can be used. So we're prayerfully, values don't drop. Prayerfully, people are still going to purchase homes for the values that they deserve right now in whichever prospective market that you're in. But they're just going to use, but they're going to be careful in selecting to make sure that those comps are comparable to what you're going to be doing in the future. So they're not going to do any stretching. They're going to be very conservative. So if you have 2 baths, they're going to compare it to 2 baths. If they got a basement, they'll probably look for that. So they're just going to look for the exact apple to apple, and they're going to be conservative when they're looking at that number. Now, appraisers, they make adjustments. So we just look at values and we see, okay, this is what, like when we're at deal makers, we see, okay, this is what this is selling for. But we are not appraisers, therefore appraisers are making adjustments to get to those numbers. So we just got to be mindful that we're just looking at the base number for that market and what's selling, but we don't know how it got to where it's selling. So those adjustments might be a little different. They might, a lot of times they hang their hat on one particular comp. Normally, in my world, they hang it on the highest comp or that middle comp. They might hang their hat on that lower comp now because that's going to be their most conservative value. Like my guy, he always says, "Oh, this is one that I'm going to hang my hat on," so to speak. And it's almost at that top number, to be honest with you, because these appraisers out there, a lot of times they think that they're trying to lower values, but they're really just trying to be fair. And if you get an appraiser that, I don't know if everyone knows Kevin. Kevin does a lot of our appraisals in the hard money world. Well, he's an investor as well. So he's going to use the top of the number. You know, we might be at that middle number now. We might be at that lower number. So I think the values are just going to be more even keeled across the board when you're looking at, because you have a high comp, a middle comp, and a low comp. They might start using that lower comp when they're evaluating these deals. So our values might not be as high, even though those sales are there.
Okay. So to further get into Glenn's question, like I guess I'm just saying, like, they are doing a lot more analyzing instead of just looking at the highest sale and going with it. You know, are they looking at listings now? Are listings coming into effect at all now, Nicole? That you know
well,
of?
listings were always in effect. So you have your current sales, and then you have your future sales. So those are always built into the appraisal. So to be honest with you, I can't really tell you whether they're going to look at more listings or they're going to look at more sold. But I would think they're going to look at what has sold. You know, a lot of times real estate agents, they'll give us like what's on the market. Oh, this is what can sell because it's on the market. No, in the hard money lending world, they look at what has sold. And now we have those 3 comps that we look at. Instead of going with that higher comp, they might use that lower comp, because these lenders are going to be more conservative across the board. These deals have to be really good. They're not stretching the numbers. If they're not comfortable with it, they're going to say no.
Okay, gotcha. And this is like the buyers that we had before, like Malhard had indicated, were some of the institutional buyers per se. And that's where we could go ahead and go that 75, 85%, and it would be okay. But those institutional lenders, the iBuyers, have summarily left the market. They'll be back soon, but they have left the market. Malhard, can you kind of expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So Zillow, Redfin, Open Door, all of them have put a stop on buying right now. To be frank with you, I don't think they had a sustainable business model. In fact, Zillow came out saying that they didn't plan on making any money through flipping until 2024. And what my guess as to what they were trying to do was corner the market and become a one-stop shop for everything. With that said, if you have a model that loses money year in, year out, and all that stock investors or shareholders care about is how much revenue you have, shoot, I could have $100 million in revenue this year, but if I'm losing money all day long, like, I'm going to be out of business pretty soon, right? So that's kind of what's happened. With that said, I think as a result of that, it opens up obviously a tremendous amount of opportunity for everyone on this call to go out there and create solutions. As we've been talking, I've been thinking about this. It's like, we're solutions providers, guys. When I said what I said about the buyers, right? When you're talking to cash buyers, and if they don't have another lender, but you have another 5 in your Rolodex, guess what? You just provided a solution to your potential buyer, right? They can call someone like Nicole. They can call someone like Ramon or Glenn, who also provide lines of credit, et cetera, right? So like, this is the time to stack those relationships, right? Take advantage of that. I know, Frank, you wanted to say something about this too.
The property I was looking at this morning was the perfect iBuyer house. But instead it was Frank looking at it instead. We'll see if we get a deal out of it. But no, I mean, it was the perfect iBuyer house. It was exactly the house that 2 weeks ago I wouldn't have even gotten the car to go look at. But this week I would.
We've actually
Tim.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
One of the things, and I know my screen keeps freezing, but one of the things I wanted to say is for wholesale, for all of us, we really need to understand the construction process. So even if you're a wholesaler, either you're going to learn numbers or you're going to partner with somebody that knows the numbers. Right. I had somebody that called us last week and they were like at 65 and I offered them 45. Well, they called back late last night, like, okay, we owe 49. And so I was like, well, can we assume that? And then, what do we assume? What can we take subject to? Because their construction number was so far out of they were like 25. And I was like, 25 what? And so they was like 25 grand. I was like, it's no way possible for us to renovate the house for 25,000, even if I went over there and did it myself, you know. And so I think this time is gonna weed out those that want to be greedy and will sell to anybody. And I'm not knocking anybody's hustle, but if you want to learn and if you want to partner with somebody, either learn the numbers so you're giving out the right numbers, and you guys said it earlier, or just, you know, call one of us, call Will and Tim. They know numbers. Like, nobody's trying to steal. That word. Nobody's going to steal money from you. Like, we're going to maximize what we can make while being fair to everybody. You know what I mean? Call Mohar, call Frank. We've been through the trenches, so we know numbers. We know you're not going to get a full-blown permit for, you know, $65. I think somebody just told me that. Oh, I can get one, not, especially not now. I got you, Mr. Wilson. So those things are critical to you seen that? For us all to be successful, because the more you bring to us, the quicker we can make decisions, whether it be us buying it or one of our buyers, and then it's helpful, and then we start to trust you. Because if you continue to send stuff where you're talking about full rehab, add-on bedroom, bathroom for $50,000, I actually stop looking at your stuff that you're sending. Somebody else will get it. I'm not gonna. We don't have the time for it. So I think that's critical right now while we're studying. Either you want to learn that side of the business, or you just know I got to partner with one of these guys, and I don't mind splitting the money. Like, everything, you know, we show everything up front. If we get it for 50, sell it for 55. However we split it, we split it.
What's up?
I think exactly what Ramon is saying when he talked about, you know, partnering with somebody. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I just think that this time is going to be just as it was back in, I would say, 2012, 2013. And, you know, and you know, many of us, that's when our relationship started, right? You know, back in those times where we all start coming together, working together and helping each other, and you know, even educating one another. You know, I know all the time, you know, Ramon, I would go by and look at his rehab to figure out what I should do to mine. You know, when I was talking, you know, actually, I think I was in New York and I closed the deal with Will. You know, so, you know, it's these times that are going to bring us together, man. And I hope the people that are watching this that are either new to this or, you know, just getting started or whatever the case may be, I hope they take advantage of the education that, you know, like Ramon was talking about. We know numbers. And those people that come to us with those $25,000 rehabs or $50,000 constructions, that's not gonna fly now.
That's right. That's right. Got another question. Ikea on Facebook. What's up, sis? Says, is Complete Comps and ProStream the same site?
Yeah, CompleteComps.com is the portal into PropStream.
Okay, got it. Gotcha. Okay. And another question in regards to offers, this is from Daniel. Do you all recommend including expenses such as holding costs, agent fees, etc. into the offers, or would it just be a plus to be able to fix that into the number?
Not sure we was able to understand you. It sounded like a announcement speaker on there. On your
sound like Optimus Prime
game or something.
Okay, in regards to offers, you all recommend including expenses such as holding costs, agent fees, etc. into offers, or would it just be a plus to be able to fix that into the number?
I have two answers to this.
Okay.
My actual cash buyer answer is, yeah, do that. I would love that, right?
Yeah.
But the real answer is
No.
when you subtract out 30 or 35%, like that's what the assumption is, that all of those extra fees are already calculated. So long story short, no, you don't need to do that.
Okay, good question.
Agreed.
Good question. It's a really good question because people really want to know, and this is what I love about this time right now is people really want to know, like, what's it going to take? And I think we're kind of re-educating ourselves on you know, on what the deal is. So I think that's good. Will, can you see any other questions?
Yeah, it's like 3 more, and then we're gonna wrap it up. One of the 3 is somebody asked, do you all buy out of state deals or only in Georgia? I know Ramon. Where are you investing at, Ramon, right now?
So between us and the partners, so of course I'm gonna leave Glenn alone in Detroit. But
Get off my street.
Alabama, Cleveland, Ohio, and we were just jumping with some teams into Milwaukee. That's going to still happen just because of the price of the multifamily. And most of those areas they're not for fix and flip. They are for multifamily so that we can build an income. It's not about the ARV. It's about the return on the dollar. And then, anywhere in the Southeast.
Anybody else invest outside of Georgia that wanted to speak on that?
So we're looking at Florida, Orlando, Tampa markets. Already own a property down there and looking at more opportunities. Looking over in Chattanooga now. Looking over in Chattanooga as well as Atlanta, Columbus, Savannah, so a few places.
I got something to sell you in Columbus, Frank.
Okay, well, give me a shout. You got my number.
I'm actually in Detroit, and we're moving over into doing some stuff in Indiana. Well, I'll say Michigan instead of Detroit. So Detroit is just the city of Michigan, but we're doing some stuff in different suburbs of Michigan as well. And we're looking to moving over to doing some stuff in Indiana. And I'd like to hear what you, Ramon, on what's happening in Milwaukee as well. I'm getting some feedback from stuff over there, but I actually haven't done a whole lot of digging into properties over there.
Okay.
And I will say with Wholesalers of Russ, just send us anything you got, because we actually, with our own money, we actually buy in Atlanta, of course, and surrounding counties, but we have so many relationships with so many different wholesalers in all over the country. So we got people in Florida, Chicago, California, wherever. So if you got a deal, we'll probably be able to point you in the right direction. So just send it to reiwholesalersrus@gmail.com. And any one of these guys, of course, can assist you in their areas as well. Second question, somebody asked, what banks would you recommend to start business credit? I think that's a question for Ramon and Glenn. I know that y'all deal with that.
Well, I think I answered the young lady, but what I said was, always first try where you bank at. It's definitely going to be more challenging there. And then we have some private folks that we know that Glenn has, and I have some private folks that deal with it. It's a criteria, and it's going to cost. It's not, people look at it sometimes, and I always say, it's the cost of the opportunity. And so sometimes people say, "Oh, I'm not paying that many points." And I always say, "Okay, well, you're not doing any business, so you're getting zero, or you pay this money and go generate some money." So, if you're not able to do it, through your bank, then you can I know you can reach out to me, but Glenn has some resources as well.
Only thing I add to that is exactly what he said. I echo everything he said. The major thing is to get over, especially in these times, get over the cost. Get over the cost. I know back when I was doing those deals, when that guy said, sure, when he said, if you can fog up this mirror, I'll give you a loan, that was 15% all day long. But the opportunity, was the opportunity is what I looked at was the most valuable, because if I didn't get a chance to have access to that, I wouldn't have made the money that I made. So, just, reach out to Ramon, or myself, and we can definitely help you with that. But the cost is going to be there. But just look at the cost of missing out on the opportunity is going to be much higher.
Glenn, while you're talking, somebody asked, do you have the specific zip codes that you like in Michigan and Indiana, or is that another phone conversation that you need to talk offline, whoever that person is?
Primarily 48228 is the primarily one in Detroit. I like 48141, which is Inkster, 48157. If they had something in Romulus, if they know the area, if they need to reach me, we can definitely have that conversation offline. But just different areas: Romulus, Westland, Detroit, Inkster, those areas around there.
And that was Wilson that asked you that question. I know you guys can talk offline.
Oh,
and I think that's it. Deanna, she had one request. Shout out to Deanna, Law Clerk on Demand. That's our sister. She asked that she wanted everybody to smile for her picture on IG, and I wanted the picture too. So I guess everybody show your pearly whites so we can get a good, screenshot image of everybody that's on the screen. So say cheese. Tim, I think your head ain't looking up. All right. So hey guys, man, we appreciate y'all staying over. We at the 2:30 mark. Like I said, I won't take y'all too much longer, man. I appreciate you guys staying on. Ramon, the mayor, Appreciate you.
Thank
Nicole,
y'all, man.
thank you so much. It was a
Love
blessing.
y'all.
Mr. Johnson, Mr. Keto J. Johnson. Appreciate you,
Jay
brother.
Johnson.
I had to put a J in there. I got to put some respect on his name, you know what I'm saying? I had to put the J in there, you know what I'm saying? So, on his name. Frank Iglesias, man, you know, we appreciate you, brother, all the wealth of knowledge that you have. Mr. Dalavadon, thanks for introducing us, man. Thanks for all the information you had. Mahar, man, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate the what you brought to the table today. We're thankful. Everybody who stayed online, man, thank y'all so much for lasting this long, for all this education. I know y'all on information overload right now, but just to make a long story short, just take action. Listen to everything they talked about today and just do it, because none of this means nothing if you're not going to do nothing with it. So take action. We love y'all, and we'll see you guys on the Monday call at 8 o'clock. Y'all go spend y'all Saturday with y'all family, and we love y'all. Y'all take care, all right? Appreciate y'all. Be blessed.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.